The weather's getting warmer and the sports is heating up. It's conference finals, and our Toronto Blue Jays ain't looking so bad lately. Hello and welcome back to The House That Happens, recorded live at Chewy's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA. And you know it's number one in our hearts. I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz.
Cruz, how you doing? It's been a while.
Yeah, well, you know what? It was a long weekend, people, so understand there's certain things we do that are decadent. And perhaps my decadent impeded the ability for us to record a show. So I want to apologize to our fans out there. A couple people said, hey, by the way, great job, bro.
Thank you.
Very good job. Very concise. Got to the point. But we're back. And not only are we back, where are we recording today?
Chewy's.
We're back in the house of Chewy's. I want to tell everybody on the street that keeps asking, what's going on with Chewy's, man? Chewy's dead. What's going on? No, man. We're keeping Chewy's alive. Serge, if you're listening, we expect you to come in with your trivia questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
But in any event, we as we keep on saying, Chewy's is going to rise. What is it? The phoenix from the flames? Is that what we like to say?
Yep.
So, Chewy's is going to be back on the ground. I do believe we can see some factual things going on here, Serge. I don't know what Serge's timetable is, but I'm going to tell you this. We'll be watching football at Chewy's when the football season starts.
All right.
Sound good?
NFL, not CFL?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Maybe both. You know, and how was your week?
Pretty good. Nice short week at work.
Oh, yeah, it's always, I forgot. Yeah, there's short weeks and there's long weekends, right? I'm adjusting to my new lifestyle, okay? Which means irresponsibility and decadence come up a lot. I don't mean it to be, but I want to say something about this. Can I just say on a personal level? Sometimes bureaucracy really screws up your financial situation. So I want to yell out to the government, to my work, come on, give me the paychecks. You know what I mean? I'm about to start eating rice.
Get Cruz paid.
Get me paid. I haven't been paid properly since September. But hey, we're surviving. It's all good. I'm just making jokes about it. So far, so good. You know what I mean? Oh, and by the way, everybody, we're doing a little monitoring on this right now. I believe that Mr. Milani should not get a haircut. I hope his mom's listening, because I don't know how moms usually tell you to get your hair cut and stuff. That right? That's your mom saying?
My mom has never really cared about the long hair. It's more the grandparents.
Oh, yeah. Old school Italians, right? Oh, yeah, I get it. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you this. Everybody out there that's looking for implants, what do you call those little things that fit your hair, hiding it under hats and shit? Mr. Andrew Milani's got lettuce, man. He's rocking this world. I hope he doesn't cut it for another year. He'll make Bon Jovi look bald.
It's quite a statement.
That's what we do here at the House That Happens. Anyways, before we continue, there's one thing I have to do, and I have to have our weekly shout out to my baseball team.
Yes, the San Fran Sluggers. How are you guys doing on the field?
Okay, so first of all, I know you guys are listening, so I'm going to say one thing. Pedro, let's tell him right now. We got to focus and make contact. I struck out once. Old man, it's late. No, it isn't. I never struck out in my life. And here I am, 65-year-old man swinging here. Had some hamstring issues. Guy stepped on my thing. I played some good defense, but it's not personal. We right now, our record is 3-2-1.
Okay.
So you want to know
500? Over 500.
Okay, you know why we got the 1? Because the game got suspended because it was almost a brawl.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so anyways, everybody on our team, be cool. No, it was kind of like the guys were hitting back at Pedro. Pedro made a crack. By the way, Pedro, you've been pitching great. He made a crack to the guys about, you're trying to take my head off. Because, you know, when you're hitting the ball up the middle, I don't think those guys are good enough to do that. But then one of the guys on the other team came out of the dugout and onto the field. Like, you know, there's always...
Joker move.
Exactly. So what's our team going to do?
Yeah.
We had Dubs out there, Waters. If you don't know Chris Waters, no, don't cross lines. You know what I mean? Dubs is going to take care of it. So, yeah, there was a commotion. I really think the problem was I don't want to say it was because it was a female umpire. However, I think she was vastly inexperienced because she pulled the plug really fast. She got nervous and she just, game over. Now, we had an incident in our game where a guy, Kyle, you can't throw the bat, and the umpire gave him a warning. He had a bad play, he just threw the bat. You can't do that. Most of the time, you're just suspended or you're kicked out of the game. But the umpire was saying, hey, he understood it was a situation, blah, 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 and he gave us a warning, which is what you do when you're a good umpire. I just think she was a little bit inexperienced. I think we'll see her for the rest of the year. If you want to know the truth, we're not bad. We're not great.
Baby steps.
Very thing. I just want to shout out to my son, Zach, big guy. You've been doing a great job of organizing it. The things that he's got to go to bring this up. And We will not go another game where we got to organize who's bringing the beer because we were short of beer after the third week. I was not impressed. So I think maybe
more 2-4s.
That's right. And for the strikeouts too. Big shout out for everybody trying. Anthony, Danny, Kyle, BOH, and John. You guys just squeeze your glove together and do your thing. The Sluggers are going to get better as the year go on. We'll keep you reported. It's been a lot of fun.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Any other shout-outs?
Yeah. First of all, I want to shout out to you.
Oh.
How did you get your picture taken with Dougie Gilmore, bro?
I was working an event that he was a paid guest at.
Oh, yeah, you get paid for those things.
Yeah.
Paid appearances, right? He must make a fortune in the city on paid events, eh?
Yeah, they had like a low Q&A, him and...
Darcy?
No. I'm trying to think. He was the radio commentator for the Blue Jays. Ben Nicholson-Smith?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
I guess. He got kicked out for for junior, but...
Okay, yeah. I haven't heard his name in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he used to be like almost a permanent fixture.
It was looking that way for a hot second.
And then, dun, 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 dun. But it was really cool. Andrew got a great picture with Gilmore. Check out the site. I was cool to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And considering that you guys haven't done anything since Gilmore played, it was even better. You know what I mean?
Saw the Stanley Cup ring too, which was really cool.
You?
Yeah, he was wearing it there. That was sick.
Yeah. The Calgary one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very cool. Dougie's a great guy. You know what I mean? He's a fixture in the city now. Him and Wendell.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Another one, little quick shout out. I want to say, whatever Bill Belichick decides to do, I want to watch him on TV.
Okay.
And you're a New England guy.
I am.
And he was supposed to be the crotchety, curmudgeon.
I'd rather see him coaching,
Oh,
to be
I
honest.
would too, of course. And I think he will get back in there. But
there's a lot of good coaches on the sideline right now.
Oh, Bagload.
I think
Bagload.
there's some guys who are maybe on the hot seat this year. So Nick Sirianni, but
ooh, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 guys were fired by Thanksgiving if things don't go right. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that it's very good to see how engaging he is. And when he talks about things, he's got a great sense of ha-ha. And his recollection of history is just insane. Like, he'll bring up something that happened with Lawrence Taylor in 88. You go, what? How do you remember all that?
He lived through it.
Exactly. But I remember stuff too. But he'll remember specific plays. Those guys that goes into their brain and never goes away, which is amazing. But anyway, big shout out to Belichick, and you being a New England guy, you must appreciate that.
Oh,
correct?
obviously.
Okay. I got a couple more shout-outs. One of them I thought was really cool, and it may sound juvenile or it may sound ridiculous, but we live life to get great memories, correct?
Yep.
I saw a little thing on TV today which I thought was so cool, and I'm old, and I still got a lot of youth in me when I see the youths doing cool stuff. Anyway, a young man wanted to ask a young lady to go to the prom, and her favorite baseball player is Bryce Harper.
I feel bad for her.
Well, that's another story. Okay. He was having a decent season. And in any event, somehow he got in touch with Bryce Harper, went to her door and knocked on the door with Bryce Harper to ask to go to the prom. If you get to check out the video, look online. The girl was losing her mind. Dad came out and got an autograph. It was really, really cool. But that's like, you know what I mean? That's the feel-good.
Right.
The feel-good stuff about what goes on in the world of sports. You know, we want to see a lot of feel-good because in a few minutes we got other things to say. But big shout-out to the kid. I forget his name, but bigger shout-out to Bryce Harper, who's not my favorite player either.
No.
But the fact that it shows a little bit more of a human side on him, too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Can I have one more shout-out? One more shout-out. In any event, you're too young to remember this, but I do. And it's very a coincidence because the Minnesota Timberwolves really haven't done anything in a playoff situation for about
20 years. 20 years exactly.
I don't know if anybody remembers a player by the name of Malik Sealy, but he was a big teammate of Kevin Garnett's back 20 years ago and unfortunately got killed in a car accident before the playoffs came. It was really, really, really sad. Like anything like that is when a player gets short. I've had to suffer through something like that myself. God bless you, Gaff. I think of you every day. However, when Karl Anthony Towns came in to start the conference finals, he came into the game in a Malik Sealy jersey, which I thought was class, cool, and a shout out to him and the organization to remember, like, you know, they've had playoff success. But to bring it up at this situation, I thought it was really cool. And if every day I turn on my TV and I get to see somebody pulling a class, cool move, especially when you have something like a tragedy happen, don't forget the people you love, basically what we're saying. You know what I mean?
Sure.
All righty, let's get this show going, bro.
Yeah, so I understand you have a, how should we put this, a gaggle of topics all regarding morals.
Well, I was listening to my Yes album. If anybody knows, listen to the Yes album. It's one of the greatest songs of all time, greatest albums of all time. And there's a song on it called...
Which album?
The Yes album. It's called strictly the band's Yes, and the album's called the Yes album. Andrew, go check it out, beginning to end. It's amazing. Anyway, there's a song on it I always like called Yours Is No Disgrace. And in the chorus, they say, the morals disappear. Well, this is 2024, and I know this isn't related to sports at the moment, but I just wanted to shout out to something that no matter who you are, that this is just pathetic. I hope you lose all your money, but I'm gonna lead into it in a different way, but I really want to see it quickly. I don't care how much money this P. Diddy guy has gotten, but if you got to see that horrendous video of what he did to his girlfriend at the time, everybody seen the Ray Rice video?
Yeah.
That looks like Sesame Street compared to what this Diddy guy did.
Yeah.
What was worse was his pathetic sit down to say, oh, I had a bad dark time in my life.
Oh, worst apology of all time.
Second worst. There's got to be something worse than that. But I'm just
We're
saying.
still looking, I don't know.
We'll look it up.
We'll see.
Anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up is because, first of all, we want to establish here at the House That Happens, especially when I'm dealing with the Milani clan, who I've got to know Andrew a lot in the last couple of years. The values in your house are very high. The standards which you live by, you've even made me be careful of things I say on the air just so we don't get misconstrued or, you know what I mean? Which has made me a better person.
Or in trouble with YouTube.
Or in trouble with YouTube, whatever the case may be. But and that's another lesson learned. Just because Andrew's younger than me does not mean that I can't learn something from you. And that's why I wanted to bring this thing up about Diddy, because Diddy is an idiot. I hope he doesn't sell any records. He's out of the country. He won't come back. He's scared.
Oh, he's done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This has got to be end of the road. And I know there was a situation where a lot of these lawsuits came up because New York changed the thing and said from now on, as of February, if you don't charge, that there's going to be statute of limitation and all that. So some of these girls come up and everyone said, oh, they're trying to get the money because a couple of politicians got done and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, we've seen the video now, buddy.
Yeah.
You are a scumbag. I just want to say...
Of the highest order.
Oh, yeah. First in line, Lucifer's got a seat right beside you, ready, and it's hot. So sit down. You think you're hot, you'll be hot in hell too, buddy. You know what I mean? And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because there's been a variety of things that have come up this week on a moral standard that has really blown my mind, going, what's going on in the world today? And can we start off with, what's his name from Kansas City?
Harrison Butker, the kicker.
Did you hear the commencement speech that he made?
I did.
What do you think?
I mean, I thought it was weird. It's definitely not something I would say.
Weird? Weird. Okay, wait a second.
But let's not forget, though, like, who was the audience that he was talking to?
Rednecks? Dumbasses?
It was a Catholic university.
Okay, I got you there. That's no excuse on Catholics. We both grew up as Catholics.
Right.
We both went to the Catholic Church. We understand what's going on. I thought that he tried to push women behind him. I've never seen him do anything like this on Mad Men. I told you that off the air. What he was saying
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Okay, like Mad Men was worse? No,
I haven't seen Mad Men, but...
I've heard some quotes from it. They're just like back in the day. You can't even say shit like that anymore, which you shouldn't have said anyway. My point is this. We here at the House That Happens want everyone to understand that we think equal is equal.
Yes.
Correct? So that means that any female that I see that is with me or in my company, unless they do something ridiculous, they're my equal until otherwise. So I think what I'm trying to get at is this Harrison Buckner guy. You're an idiot. Butker, whatever your name is. I thought he kind of talked down to women. Like, your goal in life is to stay in the kitchen?
I don't think that's what he was saying. I think it was just more like that a lot of women are getting away from being nurturers, which is their gender role. It's not something that we like to say in modern society, but it's kind of the truth.
I agree. And that's the argument against gay couples, because how do you procreate? Okay, so that's always been the argument, especially in the Catholic Church, and what's going to come up in the election in the States this year, but we're not politicians.
Sure. No.
But what I want to get at is, I'm not saying that free speech is free speech. A lot of people said, should he be dismissed? Should he be released? No. No, none of that should happen, and I expect him to be in training camp, and I expect to be booting. Now, your opinion is what?
That by Thanksgiving, we're going to forget all about this.
Okay, I hope we do, but I just wanted to...
It might be a shitstorm in the beginning of training camp. But even like once you get into the regular season in September, I think this will be 99% behind them.
What about every time he goes on the road? Can you hear the Raider fans when he comes out on the field? And
the Raiders fans are now all of a sudden the guardians of morals?
I don't think so. However, you know what I'm getting
I think Butker might get the last laugh. I mean, never say never. We all saw how the Christmas Day game went.
Yeah, agreed. But
I mean, you look at the standings, I imagine the Raiders are going to be a little further behind the KC Chiefs, but...
Point well taken. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a firestorm around the whole Kansas City thing because sometimes these things cross the line. I like to, as we say it here at the House That Happens, we like to talk about the things that happens inside the lines.
Yes.
Not what happens outside the lines, okay? Now, what has happened with this guy is like, I don't respect his opinion. I'm glad Patrick Mahomes came out and said he's my teammate. All teammates are different. He goes, that's not necessarily my view, but I can't tell people what to say or what to think or what to do. Okay, so let's further on down the road and we'll get in there because Kansas City's got another thing to deal with their wide receiver, Mr. Rice.
Yes.
What do you
After
say
his
about that?
big car accident?
People could have died in that shit, man. Okay, now,
I think that one's way more serious.
Oh, that's hence the reason we are bringing it up. Let's rent a Lamborghini, and my buddy's gonna rent a vet, and let's race them down the Gardner during traffic times.
You know, there's tracks available where you can do that kind of thing, right, Mr. Rice?
When I heard there's some stuff where I grew up outside of Windsor, just near Essex, they drew lines on the road, painted them on the road, so kids could. Oh yeah, we were young, and to go to 2 a.m, guys would race their cars. I only witnessed it once, but I heard it was out there because the cops got a couple guys. But the bottom line,
here in Woodbridge, there's a meetup spot where. They would all go to the runs, but like you have to drive really fast to catch up. I never went, but
I heard. Yeah. Is that true? And
oh yeah. They'd have their meetup spot at the Wendy's and Tim's at Martin Grove and Highway 7 there, basically.
Oh, okay.
Then I don't know. So they'd get a signal.
On your mark, get set, go.
Yeah, then we're going to the spot. Then you just watch. It's like that scene in the first Fast and the Furious movie.
Oh right, exactly. That's probably what they based it on, really, when you think about it, right?
I mean, you see all the cars there, and I think that is the aesthetic that they're going for. Yes.
But in any event, I hope that this doesn't cross over for Rice because it's another thing they were saying, well, what should they do to him? Should this affect his career? No. If you get into a car accident tonight or you get an impaired driving charge, which drinking and driving, let's quit about it. I don't think nobody should be fired from their job. I think they should be prosecuted in the court of law. Mm-hmm. But there's your job and then there's your recreational time. And hopefully the two of them don't cross. And if you do something outside that doesn't affect your job, and if it's criminal, of course, which may happen because there's going to be some fines. And he was at the OTAs, so it's going to go on. But our point again, what people got to realize is just because you're a professional athlete does not mean you're above the crowd.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm getting at with Mr. Rice. So I hope that this is an incident well learned. Most importantly thing, as you already said, far worse thing than Mr. Buckner because people
Butker
because people
he didn't let the ball roll through his glove on first base.
There you go. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Butner and Buckner. You know what I mean? In any event, I like the fact that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes came out and separated the two at OTAs, which is the proper thing.
That's proper leadership.
You know what I mean? Why didn't the Argos do that when they did this with the Chad Kelly thing?
That's a little bit different.
Because that was in-house.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Do you know it just took him now? He's not allowed to come to training camp anymore? He was there until about a week ago.
Because I brought that up on the podcast last week because league staffers were criticizing the Argos, which I think is ridiculous. You shouldn't be saying that if you work for the league, if it's within the rules.
Agreed. But I mean...
I can understand why other teams might say something. That's kind of in the... What do you want to say? The spirit of, competitive balance and, wanting to mess with the other teams and all that. I get that. But saying it from the league where you're supposed to remain neutral, I think is a little fucked up.
I agree. Totally. You know what I mean? But we'll get to chat another time. Another guy, I hope he gets the same seat as Diddy. Sometimes, you know what I
Wow.
mean? Oh, no, come on. Man.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because I tried to defend the guy for 2 seconds.
I know you did.
You know what I mean? Ever since then, I've been kicking myself in the
And I was like, Cruz, I don't know. There's a lot here.
Yeah, well, when it all came out, I stood in the corner a couple hours ago, and I will never do that again. You know what I mean?
So we talked about players basically not, or whatever, we shouldn't treat athletes, above the rest of society, but there's someone that kind of got thrown under the bus, but now he's been cleared.
Our boy Josh Giddy in OKC. Now, this is another thing that I brought up because that's why I quickly threw in the idiot that's now suspended from the Toronto Argonauts. When these cases come up, you got to. I kind of like go, let's facts, please. Now, if you don't know the case, he was apparently mixed up with some underage kids.
Yeah.
Or underage girls. Okay, whatever. Online talking, I don't know. I'm not online. I don't do dating sites. I don't do chat sites unless they're like the personal ones I do with my ball team or whatever.
Right.
And like our House That Happens site or whatever. But anyway, the guys have been cleared of all charges. And then the story's over. That's cool. However, shouldn't somebody come back and say, hey, man, sorry about the grief? Because they dragged that guy's dick through the dirt. You know what I mean? They're ready to nail him to the cross. And now that it's come out, okay, next, so it's going on, because that's a weird juxtaposition that weirds me out about sports. In the court of public opinion, you dead.
Yeah.
Then what happens when it's all over and done was said with? Shouldn't some guy come back and say, hey, man, sorry about that?
Yeah, there should be.
Never happens. Never happens.
Yeah, where's the NBA Today crew apologizing?
Never. They won't even bring it up. I'm
not going to mention the host's name, but...
No, okay, so you know what I'm saying? But that's what drives me crazy. If you're guilty, like I said, and I hate to bring it up again, and you were correct about it, when I tried to say, hey, let's get to the facts. Before we crucify someone, let's get the facts. Facts came out, I look bad. So I'm going to dance that a little bit better than usual. However, you got to understand one thing. This guy's a young guy. He's 21. He's trying to get his career going. You know what I mean? You don't want any stains on your record. And now that it's cleared, I think that somebody should have come out and said, okay, the story's over. NBA says Josh Gibby's good boy. Bye. Why didn't the people on TV say, hey, kid, sorry about the abuse? We'll never hear that ever, will we? Because you know what? Good news never sells.
Right.
You know what I mean? Good news never sells.
If it bleeds, it leads, all that kind of shit.
Bob Guccione, the famous owner, you know who he is? Okay, we know what magazine he ran in the days. I loved his expression when he used to say, if it smells, it sells. You know what I mean? Anyway, Josh, hope you continue to have a great career.
Absolutely. Best of luck. Moving this to the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. Not, to be fair to her, like we mentioned before, she's on a very bad team.
Okay.
But there's this weird dichotomy that's developed with her and some of her peers.
Okay, so let's get the whole thing together. Let's put this into context first, okay? Caitlin Clark is the greatest scorer in the history of college basketball. She beat Pete Maravich's record, which some people said would never be touched. Number one. On the court, she's the mouthiest girl on the planet. She trash talks more than anybody out there, okay? She's in your face. She does your thing, blah, blah, blah. All part of the game, right? She's now drafted on a team that totally sucks. Why do you think they got the first-round pick?
First overall pick 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. Why?
They're not good. Not good.
Can we say they suck?
I'll say they suck. How about that?
We don't like to say that, but I've seen the team play. They suck. So in any event, there's been a lot of stuff coming out about her, and it's like drawn along racial lines, I'm starting to believe.
Yep.
I want to start with one thing that I want to say. First of all, I would love to freaking have the opportunity to piss in her coffee. But do you know who Jamal Hill is? She used to do a stupid show called Numbers Don't Lie.
Oh, yeah.
One of the worst sports shows.
That's trash.
Lasted what?
Too long.
Okay, good answer. In any event, she is black, by the way. She is black. She had the unmitigated audacity to say the only reason that Caitlin Clark's getting any attention is because she's white and straight.
Nothing to do with her scoring record in college and all the skill and her shooting prowess and her playmaking. Nothing to do with that.
Nothing at all. Not that she throws great dimes. Not that she's learning to play a little defense. Not the fact that she's competitive as hell.
None of that.
No, because she's white and she's straight.
Oh, shut up.
Thank you very much. Where are the Black Lives Matter people now? Come on over here. I want to talk to you. You know what the hell's going on? I'm black. Oh, no, people know. They'll say you're associate white. Stop it. In any event, we here at the House That Happens, I'm not saying I'm the biggest Caitlin Clark fan, but I'm hoping for a great career, and I want to look at her as a basketball player. I'm not looking at whether she's freaking from Pluto or she's got stripes. This is ridiculous on a national level to have her. Now, let's talk about Jamal her and Kimberly Martin, another one on TV. Sometimes when people say about the race thing and what's unbalanced, slavery will forever tarnish America. We can't get away from that. However, in this day and age, when we try to level the playing field, why is it that you get some people that are talking heads that are black will immediately step on someone's white toes? However, if the shoes are on the other foot, the NAACP shows up.
Yeah.
That's the part I don't like. So I want to give a big shout out to Charles Barkley and to LeBron James. Did you hear the responses to this?
No, I did not.
Both of them stepped up to the plate for Caitlin Clark. Huge. They were pointing out to, Barkley said it best, hey girls, you want to get in her face like that because Angela Reese is the one that started it. We know
Angel Reese,
whatever the case may be. We know what happened with there and the little hand signs and the competition and blah, 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 blah. And trash talking on the floor is cool. We all understand that. However, as Barkley has pointed out, first thing that happened, they all got charter planes.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a good thing. You know what I mean? What is it? The conditions to get to the game have been amplified because this girl has brought more money to the table. And doesn't money change everything?
Oh, of course it does.
That's what I'm thinking. So my take on it is this. Let the girl play. Cut the race baiting. I don't want to hear about any of that anymore. I want to see what happens on the court, and we'll go from there. Oh, by the way, attendance for her games have gone up 1,000%.
Not surprising.
I think the jealousy is concerned to the fact that she just signed another endorsement deal. So, are you going to begrudge somebody because they got an endorsement deal?
No, I hope not.
That's like getting mad at your buddy because he won the lottery. You know what I mean?
It's insane.
It's absolutely insane. So
it's loser behavior, honestly.
That's good point. Good point, bro. That's exactly what that is. So, what I want to say is that I hope that we can take that shade off the game and once again get back to what goes on between the lines.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And hopefully her team will get better. And for us,
hopefully.
And if any WNBA players that are out there, the fact that she's raised the profile of the game, you guys should all be happy. Because I was never. I watched the WNBA finals last year. I did watch a game. Remember we talked about watching a game, and I did watch a little bit more of the tournament this year because of the competition. But if she's raising the level of the competition, what do we say at the House That Happens? We want to see the highest level of competition.
Yep.
There you go. Good luck, Caitlin, and let's keep this race baiting out of the game.
Keeping this between the lines, we're moving now between the ring, where why wasn't Alexander allowed to finish off Fury?
Oh, my God. Did you hear? And you know what we found out this morning? They're both suspended for a week.
That's ridiculous.
Have you ever heard anything so stupid?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, the heavyweight championship.
That's like a hockey player being suspended for an off day.
Yeah, or for the intermission.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. In any event, if people don't notice it because we don't do a lot of fighting on here because we're not UFC people, but I still like the boxing game. The fact that this was the fight for the linear championship in the heavyweight division. Mm-hmm. And Usyk from Ukraine, I think he's from Ukraine, had the opportunity to maybe knock out Fury, but the ref jumped in and gave it a standing 8 count. Okay, I watched it about 3 times. Fury has nailed guys in the same position in the other event, so I don't know why the ref stepped in. However, there is a rematch clause.
There you go.
And the rematch clause is where? Saudi Arabia.
Oh, back to our favorite spot.
Is it not? Where morals are just the greatest thing ever invented, not. So they've already talked about it being in Riyadh in October for double the money, double the hype, double the whatever.
Double the pay-per-view cost.
Double the pay-per-view cost. All why? Because the guy who can knock out Fury, I thought he would have knocked him out if the ref didn't step in personally, which always makes me say, you don't want to say that someone's got their fingers on something that they shouldn't be doing. But sometimes they got their fingers on things they should be doing. So referees should look at it again. I will probably, here's where I fault myself. Will you watch the next fight?
Probably not.
I will.
I do not have my finger on the pulse when it comes to combat.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I just do for boxing. I'm a boxing guy since I was a kid. So I've always liked the boxing. And the things that go on boxing that just ruin it now, like Ryan Garcia beat Rainey in the fight. Then they found out he was jacked up on some kind of juice. So this guy said, I never seen Ryan Garcia hit this hard in my life. Well, they put freaking turbo in his freaking right hook. And anyway, Ryan Garcia is one of the young stars in the sports, and now he's tainted with the stupidity of PEDs, which he brought into the ring. And now they're going to say they're going to redo the samples. Stop it. It just makes you realize that boxing's been probably corrupt since the beginning of time.
Speaking of corrupt, the National Golf Club in Canada.
Do you think it's corrupt?
I don't know. It's just a joke. But
I got it. Anyways, we were just bringing it up because it's going to lead into what we're a little bit of golf talk here. I recently heard, and as we were trying to establish how we feel about morals and standards in the country, which we like to keep here high at the house that happens. Mrs. Milani, aren't you great? Your son is in the front page of this. In any event, I did not realize this until recently, but one of the greatest courses in Canada is right near your neighborhood.
Yes, it is. Pine Valley and Highway 7, basically.
There you go. And I did not know this, and it's raved about. And I'm going to shout out to, Cody, how you doing? It's a men's club. There is no women membership. I was actually quite surprised.
I was very surprised.
Yeah, well, okay, then I was very surprised. The question is, what do you think about that?
It's a little weird. I actually me and my girlfriend had a little debate about this last night.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What was her take on it?
She's like, she thought it was like a little outrageous that women weren't allowed.
Okay, so here's how I'm gonna look at it this way. Did you ever watch Little Rascals?
I've seen some Little Rascals in my day, yes.
Oh, when I was younger, I watched it every day. That show she wouldn't even be allowed on now. Morals got kind of weirded out of that, and they were kids.
Some racist content in there.
Yeah, and they were kids.
Yeah.
How are we bringing up kids like that? I believe in men's clubs. You know what I mean? I believe in men's clubs just like I believe in women's clubs. If you want to have a club, and it's not that we don't want you there, it's just that there's certain things that go on. For example, and I hate to bring him up because I just watched a documentary. Harold Ballard had his club, and then they tried to get it. All the women demanded to get in there, just like at Augusta. All the women.
Oh, in the locker room?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff here. But listen, when you have your spa day, girls, and you have women's night out, do you?
Well, the Harold Ballard thing's a little different. That's like impeding on people trying to do their job.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, we'll leave that out of there. But in any event, girls, any of the girls out there listening, including your girlfriend, when you have girls' night out, does she bring you? You know, last time I checked, girls' night out is girls' night out. Boys' night out is boys' night out. So to the national, I have no problem with them deciding it's going to be a boys' club. Because in this day and age, there's got to be a place where you can light up your cigar, throw mud at the wall, and talk any way that you want. Because sometimes what we have done in this woke society, we've lost our sense of humor. Mm-hmm. That's what scares me.
That's true.
You know what I mean? We kind of lost our sense of ha-ha. So what I'm saying is that I don't want to exclude women from anything, because if you go back about 20 minutes in the show, what did we say? Equal.
Yep.
Equal is equal. But a club is a club. You know what I mean?
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
I think it's a little weird. I mean, I'm not good enough to. I'm not good enough to play at the national.
My goal is to play around there. And you know what has happened there? They're not even registered because they're an all-boys club. Golf Canada doesn't even recognize them as one of the best courses in the country, which used to be number 2 after the Cabot Trail course in Nova Scotia. But Golf Digest still rates it as a top 25 course in the world, people. Right down the street from your house.
Yep.
Think about that. Andrew, the top 25 course in the world. The planet. So the boys play this.
No girls allowed.
No girls allowed. But you know what golf stands for, right?
No.
Gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. I better retract that. Maybe I should edit that.
Actually, one time we were playing, one of the few times I played golf, like there's 3 of us, they put a woman in our foursome. She was a beauty, though. Lit up a cigar in the course.
Oh, that's great.
She was one of the boys.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I don't mind all of that stuff, too. I'm just saying that, you know why we have these chat groups? Why do people have chat groups? So that they can keep their little circle together and do whatever they want on it. So it's happening.
However, if all of my boys' group chat leaks, we're all going to jail, so.
That's what 100%. And I bet you there's 1,000 people listening right now that are going, yeah, we better watch one of these things. What the hell's going on? But that's what you say. You should be allowed. You know what I mean? When you're in your car driving down the road, you want to pick your nose and wipe it on your pants, that's your prerogative.
Sure.
Correct? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm getting at. No harm, no foul.
Sure.
Agreed? So anyways, we're shouting out to the National. Cody, get me around. Okay?
From the National to NASCAR, there was a big fight last weekend, and someone's papa is now banned for life for being the third man in on that fight.
Okay, so let's discuss this, okay? First of all, I'm not a NASCAR guy. And everyone knows I'm not going to repeat it. It has to do with the history of it, okay? And the color of my skin. Let's just go there, all right? In any event, this is a clown show. Okay, so what do you want to do? This is with publicity. And look, we're talking about it, so obviously it'll bring more eyeballs to the sport. But they have a little skirmish on the thing. And they walk up to each other and they say, go online and look at it. It's just this kids fighting in the parking lot. Okay? But for Bush to sucker punch the guy, Bush got sucker punched.
He got sucker punched.
Yeah, in the face. I thought that was the rudest. I thought that should have been charged with assault.
Yeah.
You know
why not?
I mean? Why, like, if you go down the street and I walk up to you and I sucker punch you in the face, cops are showing up.
You're going to jail.
You're going to jail. But in NASCAR, they go, another day at the office.
Except for Papa.
Oh, but then he deserves to be gone, don't you think?
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, who are you? You know, so guess what? He's not allowed on any NASCAR track in the country, right? Banned
for life.
I think they'll rescind it in a few years.
We'll see.
Oh, yeah. I hope it's not.
I hope so too.
Because we have seen a plethora of stupidity happen in the history of NASCAR. Guys running up and putting their feet through the windshield of other guys' cars.
Guys throwing their helmets at the cars.
Guys swinging helmets at each other. It's, I don't want to use the word redneck, but maybe it's that kind of insanity that goes along, because where was that stuff started?
Well, it did start in the South, sir.
I think it, and it was
the Southeast, those kind of states.
Is that on the eastern Atlantic seaboard? Historically speaking, what went on there? NASCAR, go fuck yourself. That's all I'm saying, okay?
We will keep it in racing. But to Formula One, the crown jewel of the Formula One season this weekend, Monaco. Looking forward to, I got the qualifying taping right now.
So do I.
The race is tomorrow. Not really looking forward to that as much, but qualifying should be a heck of a lot of fun.
I agree. But before we go, because I wasn't here last week, I want to say that I thought last week's race in...
Imola.
Yeah, how do you say that again?
Imola.
It doesn't look like when you read it. Like the way they print it, doesn't...
IMOLA?
Yeah, okay, maybe.
Because technically the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. That's the province they're in.
Okay, in any event, I thought that was I just want to say that was one of the best races I've seen since you've got me in the direction of F1. And oh, by the way, why is it all the rugged Americans always hating on F1?
Because they're raised on NASCAR.
I heard there's a weird thing going on. Like, it's hard for an American team to get into NASCAR, isn't it? I mean,
into NASCAR?
Into F1.
Well, Andretti's having problems, but Haas got in there.
Money. And
Andretti's got more money.
I agree, but he's got a reputation too.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, but in any event, I just wanted to point that out just really quickly, that Max won again last week. And I thought...
Lando made it close.
Oh, that's what
But just the one little mistake at the end may have cost him.
You got it. But Lando's looking great.
The McLaren's looking great all of a sudden.
Oh, Zach Brown's my boy. He's my boy.
Don't forget Andrea Stella, their team principal.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm saying. But I like that crew because they look like the kind of guys that throw some elbows and do some shit. You know what I mean? Like, they looked over at NASCAR and probably said, hey, I don't see nothing wrong with that. You know, but in any event, what I'm getting at is that since I've watched, and please do, if you ever want, if you have nothing to do with racing and you just want to be entertained, watch Drive to Survive. That's a great, great documentary or series, whatever you want to call it. But to see the Williams progress, McLaren. Progress since the beginning of that to now, they're serious about being a factor here. And right now, they're ahead in the constructor points, aren't they?
They're third right now in constructors.
They're third. Now, most of the time, they were good. Everyone knew since Red Bull rose up, it was Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes. And now all of a sudden...
Well, Mercedes taking a step back. They look like a fourth place team right now.
I noticed, okay? And a lot of bitching coming out of them.
Yep.
A lot of finger pointing going on over there. Improve your car. Isn't that the name of the game?
A lot of questions regarding who's going to be Lewis Hamilton's replacement next year. It looks like they want to push their prospect, Antonelli.
I would do that. I would rather do that than bring someone.
He's not exactly lighting it up in Formula 2, though, so that's where you kind of worry. Maybe maybe go for Carlos Sainz.
Oh, that makes more sense to me, and I like Carlos a lot.
Sam's a 2-year deal.
Yeah, why not? See what's going to happen, especially when the regulations change in 2026. Mm-hmm. But in any event, I thought it was a great race. I like Lando. I like the way he handled his car. I like the fact that McLaren has made it more competitive. When everyone says, well, how can it be more competitive when Red Bull keeps on winning? Well, Red Bull wouldn't be. Red Bull has to win because these guys are running.
Well, Max said that was a tough fight. And when was the last time you heard him say that?
Like never.
A few years ago.
Yeah, okay.
Since the days when Mercedes was dominating, put it that way.
Exactly. And you know what? When does Max ever say that? Never. The greatest villain in the world. I like Max. I even like him in the Heineken commercial.
Oh, that's a great commercial.
It is, yeah. But because the guy, I'm telling you, at 26 years old, let's get him an agent and be a bad guy in a Bond movie. I can't wait for that. You know what I mean? Look at the look on his face. He's got the smuggest look I've ever heard. Oh, by the way, I heard his sister could have been an F1 driver.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that about it. Like but then she fell in love, had kids, and all that other stuff. But they said when they were very young, she get to drive the cars. She was on her way up, but then she didn't have the fire that he had about it.
Sure.
But that's interesting. I hope one day to see a woman. We haven't seen a woman drive an F1 for quite some time, have we?
Never full time, I don't believe.
Really?
I think they've had like a one-off seat maybe, but that's it.
Yeah, and the testing.
I know they're like trying to have like the F1 Academy now as like a way to try and get some women in there, but like I don't know, we'll see.
Well, I look at it this way: if you're interested,
there's a reason why we separate men and women for sports, right?
Point well taken.
And F1, it's sure you got the car, but it's just as physical.
I agree. 100%.
You have 7 G-forces slamming into your chest.
Okay, and not only that, you see the way these guys work out, which we've mentioned before.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it's incredible.
However, we're going to make sure because we don't want morals to disappear. And we've always we were talking about equality on this show. I hope one day that a woman does get up and get in the car. What was the girl that used to run that went out with Aaron Rodgers?
Danica Patrick.
How does she get to be a commentator at F1?
She's awful. She's awful.
She hasn't been on the last one. Notice she wasn't on?
They only have her, I think, when they're in the States and like some certain other ones. She's never there for like even in previous years. She hasn't been there for every race.
She shouldn't be.
I agree.
She's totally terrible. The other girl, the tall, lanky girl, the long hair, I forget her name. She's pretty good. That crew, I forget her name. She's pretty crew.
Which one?
She's looks like she's taller than the men.
Oh, Naomi?
Is that her? Yeah. She's good.
She's good.
Yeah, she knows it because she has a fascination for cars.
Yeah.
I've heard even say that. Like her fascination, I like to see her on a freaking highway. But
I like the Irish girl, too. The one she was like the strategist for Aston Martin. She's good.
Yeah, I like her, too. Sometimes getting through her Irish brogue is fun.
Yeah.
Half the time, too. But you know what she's talking about? You know what I'd like to see? I'd love to see these girls on the highway with a car.
Oh, sure. They can drive.
Oh, I bet you're damn right they can. It'd run me right off the road. But in any event, we got to really... This race today, and as I told you off the air, I really like the track. Now, you're telling me that the passing part of the game is going to be slim to none.
Yeah.
But I think if you do take a chance to pass, that's going to be an adventure.
Yeah, but you also run the risk of like crashing right into the wall. Very little space.
Drive better. Be a better driver.
It's tough.
Oh, you're damn right.
There's really like you say there's like 3 spots to pass. There's maybe 1.
I like when they do that little zigzag and come out. I guess it'd be tough to pass because your speed would be so low coming out of that. That's what you were saying.
And these cars are so wide.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That it's the wideness there. And I bet you there's not 6 feet. There's not 6 feet between them. But I like the torque coming out of there. And even though let's do anything. Even though I make jokes about Max being a villain, I like greatness. I don't mind dynasties. I don't mind something that you're never going to see again in your life. So I'm liking this. However, I really like Lando.
Okay.
And I like the progression of McLaren since 2 years ago when we started to now. Nice leap on their part, though, don't you think?
Oh, sure.
Do you think he can pull it off today? We'll see at qualifying because I know the pole is going to be huge, right? I asked you this before the show. I didn't understand yesterday because I'm watching the practice. And I'm watching the times, and I'm thinking, this is so cool. This is so cool. This don't mean nothing.
There's a lot of sandbagging that goes on in practice.
I see some guys racing around. I thought, okay, this guy's looking good. The guy, what's the guy's name?
Practice is mainly just like gather data, like seeing what tire compound works for which time. It's fuel. You're experimenting with like fuel loads and all that.
I got that in the tire
setups too. You're experimenting with, because once you hit qualifying, it's park firm. You got to stay with that setup.
Yes, exactly. And that's the part. Okay, so that probably answers my question, because you go through all of those permeations so that when you get to qualifying, this is where we're at. Because what's the guy's name? Suando, the Oriental guy. Sonoda, that's okay?
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Okay, in any event, that guy had a great run for a second yesterday and then clipped the wall.
Yep.
Whoops. That's all it takes, eh? Like, this guy was having his best run.
And if that happens in qualifying, lap time deleted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I went, wow, that's rough. So what I really, every day I'm watching Formula One, I learn a little bit more. And hey, BOH, Zach, and all you crew, I'm becoming a big fan of this sport because the competition level is so high. It gets back to what you were saying about better being working out and being able to maneuver this car around the track, even in qualifying. It's huge.
Yep, especially qualifying, because that determines where you start.
Okay, and that's why I didn't realize, which just made me understand right in this moment how significant those practice runs are. I'm glad I watched it yesterday. I watched the whole practice round. I was sitting around doing nothing, going, "Why don't I have any weed?" And watching the racing, and I just seen Suando. How do you say his name?
Sonoda.
He just did one little clip. And, like he was having his best run. I forgot he was even there. Your buddy Huckelberg.
Hulkenberg.
Is this his last year running?
No, he's signed with Audi.
Oh, right. And our Canadian boy.
Lance Stroll.
I wish I had Daddy's
I think
money.
he's on...
I wish I had Daddy's money. If he didn't have Daddy's money, what would he be?
Playing tennis.
In any event, it should be a good race. Me too. I'm going to go home. I'll text you during qualifying.
Sure.
Just to see what's going on. Yep.
Also, it's a big racing weekend. It's not only Monaco, but we also have the Indy 500 on right after. And then NASCAR is the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race on the calendar. So a huge weekend of racing, a huge day of racing tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. And
it is Memorial Day, and so let's just have a quick shout out to any soldier that has lost his life in the name of democracy, which I think is cool. However, I think that what I've heard, and I don't like to reference guys too many times, but I will reference Mr. McAfee and his show who hate Formula One, which I don't get. They say this should be called the Racing Day of the Year. And at the end of the day, they'll put up all the highlights and say, okay, what was the greatest race? I thought that was a little bit preposterous when you come to think about it. Because first of all, it's 3 different levels of racing, 3 different types of cars, 3 different types of tracks. So how do you quantify one to the other? That's basically what I'm trying to get at.
Of course it's subjective, but...
Of course it is.
Why can't we have some fun with that, though, if they want to do that?
Oh, I thought it was, too. I said, okay, and I'm going to look forward to the show when it gets all over, because I didn't realize in the when you think about it, this is a huge day. This is like Super Bowl, World Cup, World Series on one day.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because these are the 3 basically biggest races of the year. And
especially Monaco and the Indy 500.
Yeah, and you know what I heard about it? But I think it's American braggadocio. They say that the most famous race in the world is the Indy 500. I'm going to people in Africa and even know where Indianapolis is.
They probably know about the race, though.
Probably, I guess. I didn't realize the city of Indianapolis, man, it's dressed up this week, eh? It's unbelievable, which is cool, because that's one thing about Americana. When they do up their traditions and their whatever it is, it's really cool. So good luck to that. The thing I think about Indy that fascinates me is because the banking of the track and controlling the car is a different type of race, and you stay at such a high speed for such a long time.
Yep.
That's what makes that interesting. So we're going to go see. We'll see what's going over. Max, give us another win, but if Lando takes him, I ain't bitching.
How about Ferrari?
What's that?
How about Ferrari?
Leclerc's good. He's up there. He had the best. You know what? He's had the best lap times this year. on a number of things. And I know that's your boys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what if he does win?
Why not?
He said, I mean, Max got the most wins, but I think behind him, Leclerc's had the most podiums, right?
Believe so.
So, yeah. No, I don't think...
Lando's getting up there too, though.
Oh, yeah, he is, and that's what I'm saying. But I'm not saying Ferrari's ghetto. That's for damn sure, man. They're right there. And who's the other driver for Ferrari again? I like him,
Carlos Sainz.
Oh, yeah, Carlos Sainz. Yeah, I like him, too. So, why wouldn't then Ferrari should keep them both?
Well, they already kicked Sainz to the curb. We know that.
I don't understand why. That's politics?
They wanted Hamilton. Keeping it moving. PGA Championship was last weekend, something I forgot to shout out to. But Xander Schauffele winning his first major. And then, of course, the big story, though, Scotty Scheffler getting arrested before his first round, got the mugshot in, but came back and had a solid day.
Yes, he did. Okay, so before we go anywhere, I want everyone to understand. Everyone knows I'm a golf freak. If they shot 72 holes last weekend, I watched 70. Okay, I'll be honest. I did not go away. God bless Tiger Woods. You can't give him TV time anymore. Can't do it. Tiger, if you're going to compete, and it's his right to do so.
Right.
So I'm just bringing up Tiger because I love him. He's one of my favorite athletes of all time. Back off on the Tiger thing because physically he's in rough shape. What I really want to point out is this was the best tournament of the year. Not just because the live guys were in there. It was a competition level. At one point on Sunday, there was, 11 guys within 3 strokes of each other.
Yep.
And this is a major. That's just insane. The only thing I want to say is I think Bryson DeChambeau is the biggest dick in sports.
Why is that?
Attitude. I know everything about golf because I invented it. My shit don't smell. I yell at my caddy. I balk at the crowd. When I make a good shot, everybody should love me. Stop it, buddy. Stop it. You're a great golfer. But those attitudes I don't need. And the great thing about it is, I don't know if you know, at the end of the tournament, he tied Xander. So Xander going into the 18th hole.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
The birdie, which you know what? Everybody was birdieing the hole because I'm starting to realize when equipment changes and things go down, it might be a while before Valhalla gets another shot at the PGA because the players destroyed the course. Absolutely wrecked it. It was the lowest winning score in the PGA by Xander. And not only that, it was a combined, when you do the whole tournament, it was the lowest, what would you say, combined under par tournament in the history of freaking majors.
Wow.
Yeah, when I heard that, I went, whoa, is that what really goes on? Now, Cody, fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think it was that low. What I think was great, though, is that Xander's been there so many times. He's been knocking at the door, and he finally pulled through. He's had more top 10 finishes in the last 24 majors than anybody, so he finally broke through. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. What are we going to remember about this tournament?
Oh, Scotty Scheffler. And the charges aren't being dropped, despite some inconsistent stories from the police officer involved.
I think, why are they doing? Is this political? I'm not sure, okay? There's conflicting stories. First of all, let's cut one thing straight. Scotty did not drag a cop along on the car, okay? So number one. This guy was, as I told you off the air, if you ever watched The Dukes of Hazzard, Roscoe P. Brown, the sheriff, that's the guy that arrested.
Okay.
Okay, because what happened afterwards, and to put him in a suit and take the mug shot, and then someone took one on the side so they get it on the internet as quick as they could, that guy should be fired.
Yep.
He should be fired immediately because you infringed upon a, what would you call it, as a felony, and to leak that to the public. But here's what happened. Police officers, the mayor, not the governor, but the second to the governor, like Attorney General, all came down and kissed Scotty's ass because they realized, let's see what went on here. The sad part about the whole story is someone lost their life in this incident. Mm-hmm. And the weather was atrocious.
Before Scotty got there.
Okay.
Which is why there was the big mess there. And
yes, that's why we had the confusion. But what I don't understand is he had all his stuff on him to say that he was a golfer. And they, like everybody else, how come he was the only guy that got...
It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
Beyond bizarre. And to the number one golfer in the world who's on the hottest streak since Tiger. And let's put him in an orange suit and get a mugshot on this guy.
It's weird.
It's beyond weird. Scotty, I hope it's okay. I hope he ran back home. I think he's not golfing for the next 2 weeks because he just did have a new baby boy.
He did.
So congratulations on that. But 10 years from now, I hope we're still talking about it's one of the greatest PGA competitions we had seen in years, and not talking about the fact that someone lost their life in a tragic car accident and Scotty ended up going to jail with a mugshot. Yeah.
Shout out to the French Open starting tomorrow. Rafael Nadal is entering as a wild card, so it should be very interesting. Best of luck to him, and best of luck to our Canadians in the tournament.
Oh, come on, guys. Tie your shoes tighter. Shapovalov, come on. He's winning this week. That guy, I love that guy when he showed the scene. But anyways, there's a couple interesting things that going on. This is Nadal's last kick at the can.
Yep.
He's already told. So this is like a farewell tour. I don't know if you've seen the warm-up tournament that Djokovic lost on yesterday. Guy was puking on the court.
Ugh.
It was awful. Like, yeah, something went on. You should see his hands were shaking. He had a flu or something.
Yeah.
He lost to somebody he never, ever lost to in his life. But, hey, I give him props. It was only a 3-set thing. But you see him, he was pale. But he went right over the thing, right on the thing, puking his guts out over the side. But that's how tournaments go sometimes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he didn't want to withdraw. You know what I mean? Some people said it was because of the fans. People pay money for the ticket to come see him, and if he didn't show up, he'd be a dick. So all those people that say that the Joker is a dick, I think he proved otherwise yesterday by the fact that he stayed into the tournament and qualified and respected the tournament and the fans.
Yep. Moving on, PWHL, Minnesota, 1 game away from capturing the first ever PWHL championship. They won 4-1 against Boston last night. Anything you guys say about that?
Full disclosure, I was on such a run having on the long weekend and doing so much shit, I kind of shut the sports down. The last thing I thought of was, oh yeah, Toronto's going to win this game to go to the finals. So you told me, no, Toronto didn't win. Oh, well. I think it's really, in a weird way, except for me in Boston, I think this kind of hurt the sport in a bit.
Can you say that again to the mic?
I think this kind of hurt the exposure of the sport in a bit.
Why is that?
Because the Toronto thing was getting such great publicity, you know what I mean, and expanding it to go everywhere, and suddenly they're not there, and everything, the air went out of the balloon a bit. You know what I mean? And they're not getting the attendance in Minnesota that they're getting in, say, Montreal, Toronto, and a couple other cities. So I hope that the games are great. You know what I mean? The competition is still there, but it's, you know what I'm saying? It kind of, if the people had their choices, who do they want in there?
Well, the league would probably want Toronto, Montreal in the finals.
Well, definitely Toronto. You know what I mean? The Montreal people would say, well, they just want Montreal. But watch it anyway, because like just because you don't make it doesn't mean the games are going to be, you know what I mean? Don't take away from it. Watch it anyway. I'm like that. I mean, if even my team doesn't get there and it's still going to be a great game, let's have a great game.
Yep.
So good luck to both teams. And what's the name of the trophy again?
Oh, it's named after someone.
Not my dog.
No.
Not my dog.
It's named after, like, I guess there was a family that was like a major investor in the league.
I know it had something to do with philanthropy. I know that. But by the way, speaking of philanthropy and hockey, I want to say one thing. Whether or not you love Harold Ballard or not, his foundation is still contributing to things around the city in Toronto. Hospital stuff, rehab stuff, not rehab like in addictions, but people that get hurt.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. So whatever you think about Harold Ballard and all that stuff that goes on, I want to say a big shout out to his foundation. He's been dead, 30 years?
Yep.
Whatever the case may be. And we have your opinion. Well, we should do a show on Harold one day, just for the fun of it. But in any event, please remember when you're talking about stuff like when you're getting it going and you want to make things happen, and sometimes people are not the characters you think they are, money does change everything, and if the money's moved in a way that's going to be a positive place in society, let's respect that.
Sure. Keeping it in hockey.
Oh, speaking of women in sports, should we announce? We didn't announce this during the Caitlin Clark thing. Toronto has been awarded a WNBA team.
Oh, we talked about this on the show.
Did we?
Yeah.
But it's official now.
Now it's official.
That's what I'm saying. So it's now official. So shout out to the girls. Caitlin, we'll see you in Toronto in a couple years. Continue, buddy.
Keeping it in hockey, the Memorial Cup opened up last night with an exciting game between Saginaw and the Moose Jaw Warriors. Saginaw took a 4-0 lead into the third period. Almost blew it, but chipped away at that one goal and ended up taking the opener of the tournament 5-4 at home. Moose Jaw coming up close, but not close enough with their first ever game in the Memorial Cup. And Owen Beck, Habs prospect, had a goal and an assist in the game.
Thank you. And is this their first time appearing in the Memorial?
Moose Jaw Warriors?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
They've kicked at the can a number of times, just didn't get in, right? Okay, so I'm going to say one thing. I'm cheering for Saginaw. You know why?
Home team?
Where are they? Where's Saginaw?
In the States.
Where?
I don't know where. Michigan?
Thank you. Okay. You know what I mean? I was going to point to my nice, how do you like that? I like my hoodie today.
It's nice.
Yeah, I think it is too. But we'll talk about that later. It's Detroit Lions, everybody. In any event, I want to give a quick shout out to Zach Sandu, who was playing for Oshawa. You guys had injuries. Too bad you guys got your ass kicked. And I always say, I heard someone say this, how do you recover from an ass kicking? There's no recovery from ass kicking, is there?
Time heals all.
We'll get him there next year. Anyways, about Memorial Cup this year, I'm going to pay attention to it. You know, in the last couple of games, because I was watching the lead up to the games, quality of hockey is very high.
Oh, of course.
And it's the future of our games, the future of our team. And Owen be good. I want him in the lineup next year for the Habs. And
Could happen.
And he's bigger than Caulfield.
I don't know why you had to throw that little dig in there. I thought Caulfield's your guy.
He hasn't parked my car yet. Okay. I like him. I'm just.
And he gets on me when I get on Leaf players. So,
well, you know what? I don't like the overhype when we're not getting there. Meanwhile, Caulfield was God in Montreal when he got there, and Slavakovsky. Everybody goes, "What's with this guy?" Now, when I'm looking at the two prospects, I hope they both found out. But if I'm going to say who's going to score 40 goals first, you know who I'm going with. And did you see him? I'll continue on because we get to discuss this on the next.
I just want to also say London versus Drummondville is the next game tonight for Memorial Cup. Two teams that always just seem to be in the tournament every year. But
you know what? The Hunter brothers are unbelievable. But the Drummondville guys, they got ownership like that the same. Like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, any kid in Quebec that looks good suddenly ends up in Drummondville.
Yeah.
You know, and is that where they make the hockey sticks and the pucks too, don't they?
Oh, I'm not
got,
sure.
There's a big factory to do something with hockey there. I don't know what it is. There used to be sticks called Drummondvilles.
Oh, there you go.
I think way back when I was there, because where did that company went? Where did Coho go to? You know what I'm saying? Like that was one of those companies there. But the London Knights are like the New England Patriots of junior hockey. They're always there. God bless them.
Going for their third Memorial Cup in the last 20 years.
Yes, and you know what? They've been in the finals of what?
Number of times.
I think it's 10 times that they made the finals. And not only that, that's 10 times they made it to the Memorial Cup. They won 3. Let's not talk about how many times they made it to the finals of the OHA.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
OHL.
OHL, yeah. When they lost in the OHA finals.
OHL, yeah,
sorry. The O. Okay, in the O. But I mean, like, if you just look at the record of how many times they made it to the finals in the O, how many trips they made to the Memorial, and they've won 3, woo!
Oh, it's insane.
It's just unbelievable. But you know what? I got money in London. It's called Forest City.
There you go. Moving it on. Keeping it in hockey once again. The World Championships continue. Canada in the semifinals against Switzerland today. So we are looking forward to that one very much. Czechia versus Sweden on the other side of the bracket. We all expect Canada to make it, but Czechia beating Sweden 7-3 in their semifinal match. So
it's ended up 7-3?
7-3.
It was 2-2 after 2, wasn't it? Or 2-2 after 1.
Let's see here.
And Sweden was considered the best team in the tournament.
it was it was 2-2 at one point.
Yes.
But then Czechia just kept scoring and scoring and scoring. By the end of the second period, it was 5-3.
That's what I like.
And then they chipped in 2 more in the third.
My question is, why was Sweden considered the best team in the tournament?
They got a lot of guys there.
I can't believe they crumbled like this. But I think the fix is in. No disrespect. Where's the tournament?
It's in Czechia, but let's not forget that Czechia does have a program that has been kind of rising up like the Phoenix, like Shoeys.
That's right.
Because, in the 90s, once upon a time, they were kind of one of the top teams up there. They kind of lost their way a bit, but now, guys like Pasternak, they're kind of finding their form once again.
He looked great today out there. He looked really good. But I want to shout out to Switzerland. Because I remember once upon a time, Switzerland was like Germany or one of those teams. Like Switzerland would show up and just take an ass kicking. Okay, and now they made it to the.
They got a strong program.
Yes, they do, and I'm very surprised at how they got money. Money should do that for you. And once you throw money at things, that always changes. But I don't remember Switzerland last time. Oh, Switzerland in the semifinals. I was surprised when they won the game. I thought they would lose the game. We'd play somebody else. And I go, we're playing Switzerland. So if they beat Canada, you know what a monumental upset this is going to be?
Oh, sure. I don't think it will, though. I don't think they will.
Nah, even with Binnington in net. No disrespect, buddy. You just keep on playing as good as you can. We want to see you. We want to bring home. Anytime that we get an opportunity to have a gold medal is great. You know what I mean? Because
sure.
we're like Brazil is in soccer when it comes to hockey, which is really, really cool.
Well, Brazil, it's been a little bit since they've won a World Cup, but...
Well, but they're still known as like they're one of those teams. When you're playing Brazil, you're playing Brazil.
Oh, sure.
What I mean? But same with Argentina when you look at it that way. And we're going to have to do an update soon because the Euros...
Coming up. Less than a month away.
Less than a month away. Good luck to Canada today. You know what? And not besides Switzerland going there. You know another thing that weirds me out about this is that you got 20 guys on the bench or something, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, because it's you have 2 more men on the roster
that you can put on the bench.
Yeah, you can put on the bench.
I think that's so bizarre. Why do they do that?
I don't know. I don't really have a good answer.
I noticed that the flow of the Canadian game the other day got messed up because they're trying to work out everybody getting their ice time. So Bedard plays with Tavares sometimes. Aren't they both center?
I mean, I would move Bedard to the wing. Why not?
That's what they did.
For a few times, yeah.
Yeah, for a few of the shifts.
But it's interesting because a lot of the European teams, they elect to go with 8D, which that's kind of ludicrous the way we think of like hockey in North America.
Yeah. That's what I said too. I heard a guy at 8D. So your fourth pair is going to give up some goals.
Maybe not. I mean,
the Canadians went 13-7, and you know, one day I don't know if they were just being clowns or what, but they registered Connor Bedard as their 13th forward.
Do you do that though?
They
rank it.
Yeah, they rank it. They ranked him as the 13th forward. That's why the announcers on the air were just taking the piss out of it. You know what I mean? Yep. I actually watched a little bit more of the World Championships again because I'm home during that time and the games are on. You know what I mean? It's been good, some good hockey.
Looking forward to the semifinals and finals.
Me too.
We will move this to soccer. Toronto FC versus Cincinnati FC tonight. Toronto currently sitting 5th in the Eastern Conference. Reds kind of up and down, but hopefully they can move up and capture a home field spot for the first round because it's not a home away. It's just one home game for the team with the higher seed for that first round. So
I haven't been paying enough attention to Toronto FC because I'm not the biggest fan of it. However, after all that glorious playing in the last couple of years and then the fall down last year and stuff, you kind of go, what's going on with this organization? However, money has once again moved the TFC into they could be a competitive team this year.
Yep.
Like remember at the beginning we were saying, well, watch out what the other teams are and how far they're getting ahead of the game. And guess what? TFC hasn't fallen back. They've actually rose up. So I'm their prospect. And how many games to go now? They're not mid-season, are they? Or just about?
Like a little bit past the third way.
Yeah, but I mean,
long way to go.
Yeah, long way to go. But I mean, as their team is going, you got to give them the benefit of a doubt.
Yep.
Speaking of doubts, jump back in there, bro.
Yeah, we got the Toronto Blue Jays. So. Obviously, it's been a little bit better this week, but what really took the headlines was a statement made by Kevin Gausman saying if they don't pick it up, they won't be together for much longer. And I got to say, I agree.
I agree 100%. And weird things are happening with this damn team. Like, look at last night. Manoah's struggling to get back into rotation. And 2 Gold Glove guys missed the ball and everything unraveled. He was pitching pretty good up to then. Then he gave up the 2-run shot. But I think they should keep Manoah in rotation.
Well, what other choice do you have?
Well, he hasn't pitched great, but he hasn't pitched really bad. Like, he had a nice run there. Like, imagine if Kiermaier or Varsho catches that ball, we're out of the inning, basically, and away we go. And then what they do, they give up 2 there, then they seeing eye single. Next thing you know, they've got 4, that 2-run shot, and anybody gives up a 2-run shot. I mean, any pitcher can do that. However, I'm still nervous about the whole Blue Jay situation because I think Gausman's right. And people are sniffing around. And we've talked about this already. I believe that executives are talking about, the Blue Jays talking about the possibility of trading either Bo or Vladdy, which
maybe both.
I think that's nuts. Because you know what that means? That's a complete rebuild.
Yep.
And we goes back to 10 years behind. Is that what we're going to do to your fan base? What about the fan experience, Atkins and Shapiro? I thought we were over the fact that we were going to be a rebuild. We're supposed to be moving forward. Didn't you put all that money into the Dome so we could come down for the fan experience? Was the fan experience always losing?
Hey, I saw a good game at the Dome on Wednesday. So
yes, you did.
Beat the White Sox 9-2.
Yes, and you know
Bassett throwing a gem of a game.
Yeah, he had a great game, and guess what happened? The bullpen came out, Cabrera comes out, first pitch, what happens? Souvenir. He didn't give enough souvenirs away that night, so he had to get a kid.
Although it was bobblehead giveaway night.
Yeah, that was Kikuchi, right?
Kikuchi, yeah.
Did you get one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very cool. Because I think he's pitching today, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe
He's pitching today, so we got a chance. I'm always bittersweet when the Tigers play the Blue Jays. Everyone knows why. BOH, you know why. Yes, I still have Tiger love. Come on, I just can't bash on them the way they are. But they've been just about as big a disappointment as Toronto in another way you look at it, because they were supposed to be, a lot of people picked them to win that division.
Yep, it ended up being a tougher division than we all intended it to be. But
100%. But let's get back to the Jays for a second. First of all, I'm saying that be careful what you wish for, because Vladdy's bat's heated up great. Okay, he's still making bad running mistakes. Seen him run out this week again. I think it was twice he should have stayed on the base. I think he's trying to push it. But they're definitely trying to change things and attitudes.
The home run jacket's back.
Just going to say, and it looks cooler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They brought it back out. And who was the first guy to put it on?
Bo Bichette.
Isn't that the irony? Isn't that the most ironic thing ever?
Yep.
He's the first guy. But if it's going to bring the team together, that's the most significant thing. As I was telling my son yesterday, we don't have a shout out at the beginning of our games. Put our hands in the middle and go Sluggers. He goes, what kind of shit is that? I go, it's very important to bring the team together in a way that you know you're all on the same page. Personally, we're in a beer league. Doesn't matter. But, I mean, you still should bring that together.
I agree.
And the fact that the Jays are doing it, that's great for camaraderie, team spirit, and all that stuff, because the Jays need a spark of some kind, don't you think?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Like I'm still saying, I've been saying it all the time. When we get back next week, it'll be June 1st. And what is my thing about June 1st? If they're not playing 500, we're going to be sellers. That's what I'm scared of. I'm supposed to go to a Blue Jay game next week. Zach, you know why I'm not going? Because music took over instead of sports. Sorry.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I'm just a music junkie. But in any event, the biggest problem with the Blue Jays is this goddamn bullpen. We don't know what we're getting out of those guys.
And our team can't hit either.
Oh, no. But then, you know what? We're going to get to that in a second. Of course we can't hit, and that's why I'm saying who would have thought at the beginning of the season? Then you've alluded to this. It's a completely bad thing. But Schneider's a leadoff? That guy was a no-name in Buffalo last year. Now he's a leadoff guy for the Toronto Blue Jays this year? Ah, come on.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, whatever. Like, this happens a lot in baseball where guys just kind of like appear from nowhere. You're like, oh, you know? But he's doing his job. The problem is there's not enough of guys like him doing their job in the lineup.
Okay, so I'm going to say this. Springer, Schneider. Let's look at their paychecks. We got Springer, 2 more years?
I believe 3.
Oh. You're killing me. I love the guy personally. I really do. But I mean, like, come on. He's one of those guys that plays hard, beats yourself up, and then eventually all those beat up parts of your body
catches up to you. And I'm not saying Springer's getting there, but I'm saying he's getting there.
Okay, so and I hope he plays there. But if we don't get to 500 by June 1st, I'm just saying, well, everyone goes, well, don't you wait till July 4th? Why don't you wait till the All-Star break? Let's look at our division. The Yankees and Baltimore are ahead. It's over. Those guys are down the road. I don't think we can ever catch them. So it goes back to the fact that how do you get a wild?
We're 11 and a half games back now of the Yankees.
And how many in the loss column?
10 in the loss column.
That's better than 11 and a half. Okay, I'll take the 10 in the loss column because I go to Sparky Anderson School. I look at the loss column first. However, we have to worry about if we even so now we're not winning the division. Let's cut to the chase, people. We're not winning the division, so we're fighting for a wild card. Who are we competing against? There's a bag load of teams out there we're going to have to worry about, especially in the AL Central. Now, here's what's scaring me. Houston's got their freaking car back on the track. Suddenly, Houston's only, 4 games under 500? Verlander just passed.
Yeah, they pulled up their socks.
Oh, in a big way. So guess what? They have now the same record as the Toronto Blue Jays in the fact that they're both 4 games under 500. So what a chase down Houston has, and now can we say, can Toronto do the same thing? Sure, but they're not showing it. You got to start making your move like Houston did now. Like when you start falling off the cliff, you start doing it. You start making your run sooner, not later. You know what I mean? So, and what do we have in the farm system to bring up? Nothing. What do we have to get extra pitching? Nothing. To win the trade market, we're going to get nothing because everybody else is out there bidding for the same stuff that you are. So what position are we in here? I heard Schneider was on Overdrive the other day, and he seriously believes that the turnaround will come from within house. So it better, Mr. Schneider, because all I asked for was a 3% increase in everybody's production. Now I'm down to 2, and that looks shaky.
I told you so.
It looks shaky. Oh, come on. And you know what? We're still in the middle of the field as a defensive team. We're in the middle of the fielding now. And I still say this, when you keep switching guys in the outfield all the time, shit happens. I'm very disappointed in the Kermeyer-Varsho, the outfielder now. Haven't they been playing together for 2 years?
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't somebody, that was a routine fly ball. Not routine, but relatively. Didn't someone call it? Who waited till the last second? Got to put on Kermeyer because he's a center fielder. It was his ball, and the center fielder is the traffic director out there. Terrible play with the bases loaded, bro.
Yep.
With the bases loaded, and that was the game right there. As soon as I seen that, the Manoah came unraveled after that, and the rest is history. So I don't want to drag the Blue Jays' dicks in the dirt yet. However, this season is turning out to be everything I did not want it to be.
It's rough. I mean, you look at it, we're 20th in ERA, we're 20th in WHIP.
Yeah.
And we are 20th in OPS offensively.
Brutal. Now, let's take it one step further. I don't understand what's going on because we have one of the most solid rotations in the American League. You look, we got a better rotation than the Yankees, but to your point, Yankees hit like madmen.
Yeah.
Okay? We got a better rotation than Boston, but their ERA is what? A whole a run better than ours, even though Boston's coming back to earth lately. Did you notice that?
Sure.
However, this Kansas City team ain't going nowhere.
Nope.
And Cleveland's rocking it, and they're well above 500, and Detroit's around 500. So it would be
Minnesota too.
And Minnesota, here they come. That's what I'm saying. And when you go to the West, with Houston coming back on, Texas, weren't they just World Series or some shit? So they're not going too far away. So we got our work cut out for us.
And don't forget your buddies from Tampa Bay, still ahead of us by a game.
I hate those guys. I really do. I hate everybody in the American League East. Come on. You know what I mean? However, what happened to Baltimore?
First time they were swept since 2022 by the St. Louis Cardinals of all teams.
Of all teams. And there's another anomaly that went on. The Red Sox finally won a series in Tropicana Field for the first time since 2019.
Yeah, that was weird.
Isn't that another weird one? Wow, I went, that, but that's how baseball goes. But before we finish with baseball, there's a few things that we should talk about. For number one is we're about about a month. We'll be it'll be a month from now. Will be June 24th, which will be 10 days from, about 2 weeks away from the All-Star break. There's some very fascinating things going on in baseball this year. Number one, look at the record of the Philadelphia Phillies. Nobody's had a record like that since, I think, the 84 Tigers. To win that.
A 700 ball club.
Yes, in June. Best rotation in baseball, maybe, because you know what I mean? And they got that guy, how do you say his name? Suarez, whatever.
Yes.
9-0. I heard this stat, and it blew me away. Nobody has that. In his first 10 starts, he's 9-0 with an ERA of what, 1.36?
Yeah, 1.36.
Okay, so nobody has had this record since Juan Marshall in San Francisco in 1966. That's a long time ago. I was 7 years old. Come on, what's going on?
Was that when the mound was higher too?
And the mound was higher too. So imagine if he had that mound. He'd probably be an ERA of less than 1, so to speak. But they got also Zach Wheeler on that rotation and a couple other guys.
Yep.
They're solid. They're bullpen.
Aaron Nola,
yeah. They got a solid rotation, and they play pretty good defense, and they hit the ball.
They do.
They hit the ball. However, hitting has been way down in baseball this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, we should also give a shout out to Imanaga on Chicago.
yeah, he's
an
another-
ERA under 1.
But how many innings has he pitched?
50-something?
Yeah, he's not quite as impressive as Suarez, but yes,
Still.
he's right up there.
People are calling him unhittable.
Yeah, with that funky delivery I was telling you about, and everything comes out of that delivery. People can't pick up the ball, and look what we got. You know what I'm saying? And Chicago's a good story too.
Oh, sure.
They're another good story. I'm going. What really kind of not say weirds me out, but I must make the people in the head offices at MLB scream is that everybody's always looking for offense. Offense. Got to attract the crowd. Home run gets the chicks. All that nonsense. And this is the lowest. I'm going to check it up, so by next week's show, we're going to know exactly what the situation is. But I heard that this is one of the worst seasons in hitting since almost back in the day when they lowered the mound.
Time to bring back the juiced balls?
We'll see. I'm not saying. And you know what? If people tell you you're bullshit about how they make the balls, they're the biggest liars in the world. Oh, you make a baseball, it doesn't do this. Make a baseball, it doesn't do that. You know, we can just verify this. Go around to any softball league that you play in, okay? If you're playing Tier A or you're playing in the league that I am, they distribute different balls. Why? So with the new baseball bats, they can't crank them out of every park that were made back in the 80s because the parks have got too small for the technology. So what did they do? Change the ball. So the ball doesn't carry as far. So if we're talking about every recreational beer league in North America is playing with different balls, considering the level of skill in the league that you're playing in, what can Major League Baseball do? Stop it. You know, and we had the thing with the, remember last year when we had the grip, when guys were throwing the wild pitches?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. And the one year when the first year they had more home runs in the first month of the season than they've had since 1964 or something, or 1973 or whatever the case may be. So don't tell us what you're going to do with the balls. But I do say, let's take note of this. What's the date today?
May 25th.
I'm going to write this down in my annals. May 25th. Next time on May 25th, let's see what the scoring difference is.
Okay.
Should be an interesting note, right? Because what do? They make all the baseballs for the season at once, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, and they make, 3 million or something stupid?
Something ridiculous, yeah.
They never use them all. Like they make, double what they need? Like they say, okay, last year we used 1 million baseballs. Let's make 3 million. Whatever the case may be. And then, but they have but don't they put a bunch aside for the playoffs?
I don't know how that works, but
or
either
they
way.
Just mark them different.
Anything else you want to bring up for baseball?
Yes, there was one more thing I wanted to bring up. Juan Soto's going to be the MVP.
Ooh.
Let's say it right now. He's going to get signed by the Yankees. The guy, right now, someone tells me who's the best player, position player in baseball. I'm going with Soto. Tell me who's better. Oh, big shout out to Salvador Perez too.
Sure.
You know what I mean? As a catcher, do you know now his numbers? The only people that have numbers better than him at this point in his career. Do you know who guys have better numbers? Can I tell you?
Sure.
Johnny Bench.
Oh.
Carlton Fisk. Gary Carter.
Talk about catchers.
Just catchers, yeah. Okay. So what did I say? Gary Carter.
Carlton Fisk, Johnny Bench.
Yogi Berra.
Oh, wow.
Who am I? Mike Piazza. Anyways, there's only 7 guys that currently in the history of baseball are standing in the same thing as Salvador Perez. So doesn't this look like it could be a open door to Cooperstown?
Should be. One of the best catchers of his generation.
He's
got World Series ring.
And Pudge too.
Oh, yeah.
Ivan
Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's up there too. So I think he's got to be a candidate, one of the greatest of all time. But Perez's numbers and performance is right up there, and he does have a ring.
He does.
Everyone with the Kansas City. So I think his Cooperstown invitation is looking better every day.
I agree.
There you go.
We'll move this on to the NBA where we'll talk about the playoffs. But first, obviously, there was some news last week we got into about the NBC and TNT going to be losing the rights. But Charles Barkley looks like he wants to hire the NBA on TNT crew to stay together for his own network. That would be awesome.
As long as they don't bring Draymond.
Well, Draymond's going to be busy playing, supposedly.
Okay, so anyway, let's talk about this. They're one of the best crews in the air.
Hands down.
You know
Inside the NBA is one of the best sports shows, period.
Bar none. And in fact, that they even bring a little humor to it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And Ernie is a champ.
And he's already confirmed that he's not leaving TNT or Turner.
Really?
He's not going to NBC. He's a loyal Turner guy. Well, he's been with Turner like
40 years or something.
Years, yeah.
So that'll take away from the dichotomy of the show. Like, you need Ernie.
Sure.
Wow.
Well, they might still do it independently with Charles things, because that probably wouldn't interfere. If he went to NBC, that'd be a different story, I think. But
yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I love Ernie, though. Oh, I love him and those bow ties.
Oh, yeah.
And all this shit. But you know what? It's very knowledgeable. I'm thinking about how long. I don't remember watching basketball without Ernie being on at the shows. You know what I mean? Which I think the whole crew is good. And don't forget Kenny. Kenny, who's never was there, even though he's got 2 rings. Yeah. And reminds Barkley every day. But I think it's what we enjoy is the interaction amongst the personalities along with the knowledge. Because if they didn't know what they're talking about, get the hell out.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? But to have the knowledge that we learn all the time and the situations that they know and their love of the history of the game. Mm-hmm. So I do hope that they rise up again, because how did Turner get outbid by NBC? It's a vicious game out there.
NBC Universal, that's money.
Yeah, well,
they got a lot more money than Turner.
Oh, yes, they do. That's why they came in and swept it. And the whole sports landscape is going to change with these different companies coming in and doing
streaming and everything.
I heard that Stephen A. Smith has got a great documentary. Why'd you put it on ESPN Plus, buddy? About the state of sports broadcasting. And I heard it's really interesting. Like, they go back and they trace it from like what really took off. And even though you don't like them, the beginning of it all really started where expanded was not just the cable, was the fact that Mad Dog and Mike in New York.
Mike and Mad Dog, yeah.
That's what really
WFAN, New York.
You got it. And not only that, the original Brett Musburger crew with the NFL Today. Those two, when you do a timeline, because that started in the 80s. And if you check the timeline, those two are synonymous with the evolution of sports broadcasting, or not sports broadcasting, but do stuff like what we're doing right here, right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? And the question always is, and I heard it's interesting, they said, once upon a time, you have to be accountable for what you're saying. Now, everybody's got an opinion, and everyone throws it out there, and some people are hypocritical. Well, I want to just say this about, especially you, Andrew, who's our producer and really gets our shit together on this whole show. We like to stay factual. We have our opinions. We like to provide information. But we're not going to tell you any bullshit. No. You know what I mean? We're not going to slag anybody. What's our quota? That's our quota. What's our statement? We like to say, the player doesn't suck, but his performance might. Is that as polite as we can get?
Sure.
Anyways, I hope we keep those guys on. Somehow, some way, we can keep them on the air and whatever.
Somehow, some way.
I think it'll work out.
We'll move us not quite to playoffs yet, but the Cleveland Cavaliers dismissed their head coach Bickerstaff in a move that confused me. Maybe you can make more sense of it than I can.
No, I was shocked. Totally shocked.
First playoff series win since LeBron, you know.
So kick him to curb.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like they're saying there's player empowerment, and then there's player stupidity. LeBron says he wants nothing to do with the hiring of the new coach in the Lakers.
You're not buying that, but that look you're giving me.
Ah, come on. No, LeBron says he is not having anything to do. I'm going to say that one more time. People think about this. LeBron James, okay? This isn't Jack Cruz. LeBron James wants nothing to do. He wants no influence on who is the new coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. You know what I mean? And I swear I'm never going to smoke weed again as long as I live. God, look at my nose. It just started growing. You know what I don't like about the NBA? I think the same thing with Vogel getting fired in Phoenix.
Vogel's overrated, though. I was okay with that.
Okay, but still, the guy, 1 year gone. Who else is gone? There's another guy that's gone. But any event, it's like if they don't like you, Durant didn't like Vogel. That's basically what I'm get. You know what I mean? Is that how teams work?
And they got swept in the first round.
Well, that might have a little bit to do with it, too. But when you think about it, we had this talk about it off the show, and I think that when you start talking about the coaches and how it's built, we got two in the league that you really think about it. They build teams around the coaches. And one, Spoelstra in Miami. Like, how long has he been coaching now? They say the life expectancy of a coach is 5 years. He's been there, what? 12?
Over 10.
Yeah. He's
15, I want to say.
I think he's the most tenured coach in the Big Four, isn't he? Now that Belichick's gone.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think he's the most tenured coach in all of sports. There's somebody in baseball that might be able to compete if we think about it for a minute. But, yeah, I think he's the most. I think Roberts, how long has Roberts been with the Dodgers now?
Oh, not that long.
10 years close, isn't it?
5, 6, maybe 7.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be longer. In any event, that's what you're just saying. Like, these guys in the NBA, smaller crew, bigger money, more demands, more prima donnas. Bingo. What do you got? And, of course, Tibbs in New York, too. They build around him, even though they say he runs teams into the ground. Yes, no, maybe so. But this Bickerstaff firing in Cleveland blew my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mine too.
I don't understand it at all.
Speaking of my mind being blown, there is talk about Bronny James being the number 1 pick in this year's NBA draft. How does this make sense?
Stop it. It's politics. You know that, right?
No.
Okay, so here's what we were saying. Jeannie Buss has been on record saying she'd do anything to make LeBron happy. Okay? Now, you make LeBron happy. So, first of all, now how does it make sense? That's what Jeannie Buss says. And then LeBron says, I want to have no influence on the new coach. Wait a second. I only speak English, but the owner says this and you say that. Something's not jiving there, okay?
Sure.
Bronny's going to be a good player. I think he's going to be...
You think so?
Okay, I'm going to compare him to what player, how good I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be as good as... I want to really make a good comparison here. I think he's going to be as good as... Get up to a level of, say, a Trey Holiday.
Okay.
Okay? He's not a superstar. I don't think... Has he made any All-Star teams? Maybe all defense. Okay?
Meh.
I think he's made... Yeah, he's a great defensive
Maybe.
player. And they say Bronny can play D. So I'm going to say he'll get to that level. So he's a serviceable NBA player.
He should go back to college for another year, though.
They say he's going to go straight to the G League if they take him. But it's politics, because you know what a couple teams are doing? Boston's already getting in line because they're going to try to draft him to see if they can screw with LeBron and the Lakers. You know what I mean? There's no love, and you know what I mean?
How high do you think he's going to go? Because we're assuming he's going to get drafted.
The first projection was 55th. They only draft how many guys?
60.
So his original prognosis was 55th. They just finished the week combine. The combine. His stock has risen tremendously from this combine. Not to number 1.
No.
Okay, so here's the factors.
I don't get how his stock can raise that high, though, when he, you saw what he did with USC this year. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything really noteworthy, to be honest. Not that I'm completely blaming it on him. It was a bad team. But, he wasn't even, a good player on a bad team. He was, an player on a bad team.
Okay, so let's put all the pieces together.
It's just because he's LeBron's son that he's getting this treatment.
Oh, okay, that's number 1. But look what the poor kid's gone through. He had that heart murmur thing.
So then why are we rushing him? That's what I don't understand.
A lot of people say it's because LeBron has his desire to be able to say, I'm the first guy to play with my son in the NBA.
Oh, so it's hubris?
Really? Really? Come on. Of
Come on,
course.
LeBron, don't you want what's best for your son?
That's
That was
what
best
he's
for
been
you?
saying lately. That's his word. He goes, Bronny's his own man. That's what he said. I'm not Bronny, and Bronny's not me. I came right out of LeBron's mouth. Do you think LeBron ever tries to dictate the narrative?
Yes.
Really? You're kidding me. You must be joking. So when you hear this stuff, what do? You take it with a grain of salt. And he's not leaving L.A. He wanted to go to the L.A. lifestyle. He's got a production company out there.
Oh, I 100% he's not leaving L.A.
And his buddy, what's his name? His agent and his best friend, what's his name? Paul? Oh.
I'm blanking on his name, too.
Something Paul.
Yeah.
Rich Paul, yeah. These guys are building an empire in L.A.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a great thing. But I think a lot of teams are going to go in and try to freaking screw it up by drafting Bronny and saying, come deal with us now. You know what I'm saying? You know, but here's what I say. Lakers, you guys already made your own bed. You wet the bed when you traded for Russell Westbrook. Everybody wanted Russ.
Yeah.
Where is he now? He's gone out of town. You lost.
He went across town.
You went across town.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you lose in the fact? You lost your 2 perimeter defenders in Kuzma and, I forget who else. And then you let, for cap reasons, you let Ingram go to the Pelicans.
Well, they traded him to get Davis.
Yeah, to get Davis. That was part of that deal too. So, okay, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt on the Davis deal. But just think about, there's 5 serviceable players. I'll think about them that are in the NBA right now that would start on any team that were with the Lakers, and they have no draft choices.
Not for a while.
Okay, so what are you going to do? How are you going to get
Sign
in there?
Chris Paul.
Oh, come on.
You know he's going to the Lakers.
Of course he's going to go there because they're all buddies. It's not buddy.
2 of the 3 oldest players in the league playing together. Recipe for success? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
In any event, I just...
Chris, maybe I shouldn't go there, but...
Yes, go there.
Chris Paul's going to get another injury late in the season.
And then blah, 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 blah.
I shouldn't laugh, but...
No, we shouldn't. We don't want anyone to get injured. But I can't feel sorry for the Los Angeles Lakers when you have egos, attitude, and money that doesn't get you to where you want to go. I want to look at the franchises like... OKC, how they built Cleveland building, even though they picked up them. New York basically built a team, even though they did a few little trades to go on there. If you don't start from the ground up, you know what I mean? It's never going to work. So I'm going to make the boldest statement that you're going to hear right now before we go on. Memphis Grizzlies will be in the Eastern Conference?
Western
Finals.
Conference.
Yeah, they'll be in the Western Conference Finals next year.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
So they're going to beat at least one of Denver, Dallas, OKC, Minnesota on the way.
Them all.
Wow.
Because you know what? We have such a short memory in this game, okay? You know what? I'm going to explain it to you. How was people talking about Ant-Man 10 days ago?
Oh, well, it depends who you asked.
Okay.
You talking to Michael Wilbon or Tony Kornheiser?
Oh, no, I love those guys. Kornheiser's the best, eh? I love Wilbon, but Kornheiser's my boy. Sometimes I think I have his attitude sometimes, to tell you the truth. But, you hear right there what they've got to say. That should be the litmus test for what you believe in people going there. Why can't John Morant be the face of the league? Until he screwed up, did some stupid shit, but now guess what? They had injuries there. Did you see their lineup? They had injuries. They had problems. Things went off the rail. All of those guys are coming back next year, and they got a high draft pick. Not only that, they got a high draft pick in the second round. So they're going to add 2 quality players to a lineup at the beginning of the season was considered top 4 in the West. Everything fell apart on him. Okay, sure. I got it. But now, when you bring all those guys back, and how old is Ja?
He's still youngin'.
23? He's a year older than Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm looking forward to in 5 years, I can't wait to see the conference finals when Ant-Man's going against Ja.
Let's see. We'll keep tabs on that for sure.
But before we go on anymore, before we're going to the meat of the story, that's why the NBA should move on now. All their signature players are great. They've added to the history and the fabric of the league. Who is playing in the playoffs right now? None of them. Can I give you some names?
Sure.
LeBron, AD, top of the list. Where's Durant? Should I continue? Where's Kawhi? Where's Curry?
Hey, come on, Kawhi. You were sucking his dick for the entire season.
If he had made the playoffs, I'd be still sucking his dick, okay? Because he's out. I should say Paul George more than him and Harden because they didn't show up anyway. But look what we have to deal with when all those guys are gone. Shea. We haven't even mentioned Wemby.
Nope.
Okay? Shea, Wemby, Ant-Man, Ja. That's just 4 guys that can run this league on their own. They could be the face of the league all of
Well, what
those
about
guys.
Luka? Like, anytime he was brought up during the regular season, you'd roll his eyes. But where's he now? Up 2-0 in the conference final.
I know that I should have brought up Luka, but I have Luka issues, okay? So, look, come on. Yeah, Luka's going to be there in 5 years, too. He's going to be one of the guys in those conference finals. So you got all of these quality players on there. Hey, listen, Father Time's undefeated. Next. That's all I'm saying. Don't keep telling me about these guys. I'm on here. And if you see what Tony Kornheiser always says?
What?
Next. But, and I'm just saying, this is right in front of us in the moment because we're talking about how media works and everything's immediate and history's yesterday. Ant-Man's now a bum. 1 week.
He's had a rough go. I mean, let's just start with that Minnesota-Dallas series then.
2 great games, by the way. 2 great games.
Not for Ant-Man, though.
No, he's been very rough. And the biggest thing he say about that is like when he made the joke. You gotta realize, we never brought this up. One of the greatest post-series press conferences we'll ever see, and they're going to roll that tape for the next 20 years, is Cat and Ant-Man when they did that press conference.
Oh, yeah.
Just absolutely. What do you mean lose? We've been losing. Like, I loved it. You know what I'm saying? So they push him up to knock him down. Okay, you know what I mean? And that's 1 week, bro. Like 1 week ago. Ant-Man's going to be the face of the league. Ant-Man's this, Ant-Man's that. It was even worse when you think about it when they went up 2-0 against Denver.
Yeah.
Then lost the next 3. Then they're already kicking the kid then. Then he made this great comeback. They kick him, and then they just destroyed him in Game 7 in their house, down 20. Greatest comeback in the history of NBA on that level. So now Ant-Man's bum. Okay.
Don't say he's a bum.
The media's trashing him already just because he called out Kyrie, and Kyrie had a better game. Kyrie's a great player. He's got the best handles in the league.
Sure.
Okay, so...
Well, you had problems with that statement, too, during our meeting.
What's that?
You had problems with that statement, too.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. But the bottom line is, let's see what we got in the moment here. Let's just, the guy's 22.
Yeah, it's just strange for a guy that's so young to be out of gas at this point.
Maybe the moment's a little bigger than you realized. Okay. One of the reasons that Minnesota's losing is they're shooting too many threes. They've shot more threes in these 2 games
I
than
completely
they played
agree.
all season. It drives me nuts. What are you doing? And you don't make your shot. But he does impact the game in other ways. His
Sure,
defense
no,
has been good.
I agree with that too. But the fact that they're shooting so many threes kind of blows me away, especially when you have those 2 big guys.
And not only that, you can control the paint. If you look at them, Dallas has outscored them in the paint. If you had told me before the series that the Mavericks are going to outscore the Timberwolves in the paint, I'd say, I'll take that bet. I have no problem. And look what's happened. The first game, 48 points in the point, or was it 56 points in the paint?
The paint.
For the Mavericks, 32 for freaking the Timberwolves. I thought they would have went back to the dressing room and said, okay, this is how we got to tighten up. Even though Cat had a rough game last night.
It was 62-38 the first game.
62-38, that's what I'm saying. That was pretty close, off the top of my head. But I'm saying, during the regular season, it would be the other way around for the average game of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Mm-hmm.
But even game 2 last night, it was 54-42. So still a significant loss.
And that was a difference last night. I know they tightened it up because Ant-Man started driving more, and so did Connolly, maybe the most underrated player in the league. Too bad he went to Ohio State. But I don't know how they're going to come back, but you can't say the series is over because we just seen, remember we wrote the obituary for Denver after 2 games in the last series, and what did they do? Storm back to win 3. I'm just saying the difference is this. The role players on Dallas are beasting it. Jason Kidd has got into Luka's head about if you want to win.
Jason's got everyone buying in on defense.
Oh, my God. You know what I mean? And
Jason can never stop playing defense his career, so.
No kidding. And the craziest thing, too, is, and I hear it from everybody, including my new favorite guy talking on TV, my buddy Austin Rivers, is that people don't realize how...
Austin Reeves, yeah. Or Rivers, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, Rivers.
Yeah.
But anyway, in any event, people don't realize how strong Luka is. Like, he looks like he looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy, but the guy can you know what I'm saying? He can bang. He can, and not only that, his offensive prowess, I can't deny. Just because I don't like the guy, I have to respect his talent.
Oh, sure.
Shot over Gobert last night to win the game. I thought, oh, come on. But you know what is? That's
They yelled something in Slovenian after.
Oh, should have got a tech. In any event.
No, it's playoffs.
In any event, I give Jason Kidd a lot of credit because they had the right switch. Because in that situation, out on the perimeter, the last guy you want guarding frickin' Luka is Gobert. Oh, defensive player of the year. He's not out on the perimeter. Come on. So it was a great switch, great play called by... I thought Kyrie might have got the shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought Kyrie might have got the shot. That might have affected Luka's ego.
They got it in. That's what matters. I think Luka's been... A lot of people have been saying that Kyrie's been playing better, but I think Luka's been the straw that stirs the drink for the Mavericks here in these playoffs.
I'm amazed that the both of them can coexist. So I think that all the Kyrie critics now should just come and freaking say, hey, listen, I shouldn't have said that. I heard an interesting note, and we can bash this guy anytime we want. Not that it's going to affect his playbook, but did you show the other night when they had the opportunity at the end of the series, the last series when Denver got rid of OKC and Kyrie came on the set, Stephen A left.
Oh, really?
What kind of bullshit's that?
Pussy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the man. You know my number.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you face to face. I'm not hiding.
Not for Kyrie.
Kyrie shows up, you disappear. Stephen A, I'm gonna keep that one in my back pocket because him and Draymond just had that recent little blow-up, which we don't care about because I don't want to talk about either one of them. However, what do you say for the rest of that series? Minnesota done?
I mean, I'll say Minnesota's like they got to win some games here. Come on.
They're going to win a game at home, but I'm just saying down 2-0, and they're going into Dallas.
Yeah, it's going back to Dallas.
Okay,
now.
So now Mark Cuban's going to bring in all the bells and whistles to make those boys happy because when they're winning, Mark Cuban pours freaking more syrup on the pancakes. You know what I'm saying? I would like to have been on the airplane ride home from Minnesota to Dallas. I would have loved to have been on that airplane and see what went on. There was a party going on there. But I think that one of the things that they always say, and it's too bad because Kat and Ant-Man said in their thing, we've done enough losing. It's our time to start winning. They're still a young team. And you add up the amount of playoff games that roster has played in their career, as opposed to Luka's already made it to a conference finals. Kyrie's won a championship. He's got the kids backing him up. Hardaway knows how to play. Lively knows, he's a Duke guy. He knows what the pressure is. PJ Washington, he was a good player. He just never had the opportunity to show what he could do, and now he's on that. Ooh,
and he's my most surprising player for these NBA playoffs.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. We're going to get to that in a second. But in any event, I feel bad that we're not going to see more Ant-Man and we're going to see more Luka, but that's a personal thing, and I should be more subjective because I will say this. When I do bash players, it's personal, it's subjective, and I'm on my couch. It's easy for me to do. But let's respect it. Luka won the scoring race. He may be have the best offensive package in the NBA right now, and that's saying a lot.
His way to just control the tempo of the game, play at any pace he wants to. Can shoot, he can score, playmaking, everything.
It's the pace that he gets away with. You know what I mean? One of the things that I really liked about the fact is that he's still chirping the refs, but the refs aren't listening. So I'm good with that. So in any event, I hope the quality of the two games are great.
Yeah,
two great games. So if you know what it is, it gets back to that thing is, I hope it's not a 4-game series and we get 4 games like this because I want 6 or 7.
Sure.
And I don't think it's going there.
Another series that you can say that about is the Boston-Indiana series, where Indiana just puked it up game 1. Had a chance to get it done in overtime, could not get it done.
Pascal Siakam had the best 47 minutes I've seen out of him since 2019.
Wow.
Oh, did I tell you about his last minute?
Was not good.
47 minutes. I liked his 47 minutes.
Letting Jaylen Brown shoot it in the corner.
The turnover before that. So
that too.
So those 2 plays are what won Boston the game. But I like LeBron's comeback, and I thought this too. What happened was, and Carlisle tried to defend Siakam this way, so it's one or the other, is that Siakam didn't want to foul because he didn't want the 4-point play.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm going to the LeBron school of thought. I'm not going to mother on the ass and make him go to the foul line. Make him put him in. You know what I mean? That's game on the line. I'd knock him on his ass. And if he makes all the free throws, so what? He made the shot anyway.
Is Indiana done?
100%.
You don't think they could win a couple games at home? Because Indiana, they do have a killer home court advantage. So, I can see a scenario where they do take games 3 and 4, but they're still going to be out in 6.
Oh, the problem with Boston is...
But they could also get swept at the same time, the way it's going.
Boston is the biggest schmucks in the league. They've got a great team. They're the masters of shooting too many threes. Did you see even the game there? They stole game 1.
Oh, yeah.
But you see in game 2, twice they were up by 10 points, 12 points, and they start firing threes. How did they get up by 10 points? Because they controlled the paint. Then they go back to shooting threes. Oh, look at this. Indiana's back within 5. They go back to the paint. They go back up. Oh, we're winning. Let's shoot threes. That's what's burning their ass. They're inconsistent in the way they play offense. But I'm going to tell you this. The biggest shocker is if they go to the finals and lose, I say Joe Mazzulla, the coach of the Boston Celtics, is fired.
I've heard that his job could be in danger if they don't win this year.
Oh, he's not a very good coach. That's just the problem. If they had the adulterist coaching them, I'd say they're going to the finals. Come on. I mean, they are going to the finals. If they had the adulterist, I would say
they'd be winning.
They'd be winning it all. Different coaching philosophy, different way to stretch it. But at the same time, you got a guy like Jason Tatum, who's about to get $300 million, I hear. This guy should go to the paint more. What's he doing there? You know what I noticed last night? I'll give Ant this credit. He shot 3 threes and he missed. Then he went back to the paint. Then he came back and took a shot and he made the 3. Okay, he took another one. So at least someone's got it in his head. If it's not your night, it's not your night.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Boston. Got 5 guys can shoot the 3. If 5 guys are missing them, it's an ugly game.
Yeah.
Worst Game 7 I've ever seen in my life.
So we know that.
Okay, you know the Game 7 I'm talking about. What'd they miss? 83s, both teams? Stop it. You know that was Milwaukee Boston game?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, what'd they miss? 83s?
That was a bad game.
Game 7. We begged for Game 7s. Worst Game 7 I've ever seen in any sport at any time. Burner.
Time for our most surprising player of these NBA playoffs.
I think that we have discussed this.
Yeah,
already.
PJ Washington.
But I also give the rookie a lot of credit. Lively, the rookie out of Duke, the way that he has played is really, you know what I mean? He was gritty in Duke, and I thought he should have stayed an extra year, but these kids just run to the NBA and get money. I guess he didn't get his NIL. I guess he didn't get that. But he's really emerged as a guy. He's tough. Under the basket, he's tough, and he's there. And what has happened is, like you've already alluded to, the fact that Jason Kidd has said, we got to play defense or we ain't winning. And all those guys are playing, and they're banging, they're good. The other guy that's really surprised me, and I have to bring this up, is that McConnell kid, the little white boy on Indiana. Not that white matters. We want to get away from the race thing, but the kid
got some hustle.
Oh, I want him on my team. You know what I mean? He's banged. He's not afraid to get in there and get dirty, and he's not afraid of taking the big shot when he needs to take it. You know what I mean? He'll be on that team for a couple of years, and it's the growing pains. Remember, Indiana didn't even win a playoff series since what, 2013?
20, yeah. It was against that year where they played the Raptors in the second round.
There you go. So that's a long time ago. So they, you know what, like I do agree, and we've seen it with OKC now. In
2016, I believe. That was the year.
2016, yeah, okay. So whatever the case may be, the OKCs and the Timberwolves are falling into the old adages, you got to win before you lose. And they're in the moment. So I'm not saying the series is over. Indiana's going straight home. Straight home. I know they got a great record because what Boston's got to do is not play down to their opponent. Play up to their ability. The best roster in the NBA.
I think Boston still blows one of those games in Indiana. At least one.
I expect them to. They're going to do the gentleman sweeps. You know what I mean? But by the way, I'm cheering for Indiana like you would.
Oh, of course.
I'm cheering for Indiana like you wouldn't believe. Even though it's sometimes you're cheering, I was like, there's certain players you like I really like True Holiday.
I like him too.
I like the way
I like Al Horford.
Oh, old school Al, yeah. But then I see the uniform he's on. Fuck you. That's sorry about your luck. Fuck you. You know what I mean? But the only good thing is that comes out of this is that Horford gets a ring.
Sure.
That's the only positive there because then I'll get the college ring and the pro ring. And he's had a great career.
Oh, absolutely.
So you know what I'm saying? So I guess we'll be watching the game tonight to see if it's going to go down 3-0, correct?
We will see. Great. And we'll move this on to the NHL and to the Stanley Cup Finals. But before that, a couple trades went down of significance. Yes. Number one, Ryan McDonough and a 2024 fourth-round pick on their way to Tampa Bay. McDonough going back to TB in exchange for a second-round pick this year, a second-round pick next year and a seventh-round pick this year. Tampa Bay only has $5 million in cap space left to sign 5 players. Nashville now with $26 million cap space to sign 8 players.
So Soros is staying?
We'll see. He's got 1 year left in his contract. The trade rumors are going to fire up, but I got to call out these insiders because every summer we hear the same story. Oh, no, this is the summer where the dam's going to break. Nothing's going to happen. There's going to be maybe one big trade if we're lucky.
So what's going to go on with the cap?
Well, it's going to go up around, what, $5 million? 4.5, $5 million?
It should.
Yeah.
It should. Bettman's just being a schmuck. It's got to go up 5. Who wants that cap to go up more than anybody?
Well, the teams or the players, I guess.
No, there's a significant team in your life that wants that cap to go up more than anybody, and that's all we'll say about those guys. Okay? They want it more than anybody.
I think Tampa Bay wants some cap space, too.
They're the top 2 rated for where do we need for the cap space, but I find that
Montreal's up against it, too, let's not forget.
Yeah, but I think we've got a bunch of guys we can dump. Before we get there, we got to re-sign and do shit. And some of these guys that I'm not worried about. Because I heard someone at Hab site and said, hey, we can go out and get Monahan and who else is a free agent that used to play for us? Who's on L.A.? Toffoli.
Oh, okay.
Someone who has obviously fell down, banged their head, said, we can bring back Toffoli and Monahan. With what money? Come on.
Montreal with the projected $9 million cap space right now.
But they got
to sign 3 players, so could potentially get something done there.
And then not only that, I think there's somebody a couple guys they may release. Or they may trade. I don't know. Montreal's not that bad of a cap space, really.
I mean, I still always circle back to those 2 contracts. 12 mil between Gallagher and Anderson for the next 3 years.
Ooh, that's going to hurt. But as long as they're the best fourth-line players in the league, I can live with it. Is that how you look at it?
For 12 mil?
That's 12 mil to both of them, right?
Combined.
Yeah, combined. Still, that's a lot of money. But so what do you do now? Before we go on to what's actually going on in the playoffs here, let's talk about your beloved Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and I want to talk about an absolutely ludicrous statement that the so-called insider Frank Saravalli made on Toronto radio.
I'm not a big fan of his anyway.
Neither am I. I've never been a fan of his. But he put a number on the chances of Marner staying in Toronto next season. 5%. I don't know how he pulled that number out of his ass.
5% chance that he'll be in Toronto next year?
Yeah.
Don't you think it's higher?
100%. I think it's higher.
That's what I'm trying to. Why?
And I'm not saying it's 100% chance he stays, but I'm saying it's 100% the number is going to be higher than 5.
Yeah. And what if he's traded tomorrow? Then he looks like a superstar.
Sure. That's not going to happen.
Oh, before we go any further, can I welcome Craig Berube to Toronto?
Yeah, of course.
I love the films they were showing.
Him and Shanahan going at it? They got to dig up the video of the GM when he tried to fight Gino Ochick in a Canucks training camp back in the day. That's the only one now.
That would be good too. You know what I mean? But anyway, we welcome Berube to Toronto. Oh, by the way, tell your folks this. They may be interested. I just found out this last week that I walk by every day when I walk my dog. I walk by the house that Ken Dryden grew up in.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool
that's
stuff.
what I said. What? And I didn't know because we were talking. Thanks for Danny and Serge. I knew Serge didn't know it till Danny because Danny lived on the street too.
Wow.
So he had known about it when they'd move out. But I forget the number of the house. And I'm going to ask people on the street. But I walk on that. He lived on Redgrave. I walk on Redgrave every day with my dog, including the house with the 5 bullies. You ever walk by a house with 5 bullies in the yard?
No.
It's mad. It is mad. And there's one bully that bitches all the other ones. You got to see it. And then sometimes I see the lady comes out, and she walks out, and this woman weighs 110 pounds at the most. She walks out and goes, "Gers," and all the bullies stop. How does she do that? I see the 5 of me and Stanley look over and go, that's an interesting crew. And they're going nuts to get through the wrought iron fence. And then the other one they have, it might be a King Corso because it's got that nice colors. Not to get off topic here, but it's hilarious. But I have noticed yesterday when I walked by, they got a big piece of plywood up by one of the fences because I guess the neighbors are going. You got to see them, bro. There's like 4 of them.
Yeah, I'll go for a walk, maybe.
And they're in there and they're just killing. They go, like nuts. And you go, and then someone said, I think they only got 3. I think you're exaggerating, Cruz. And Buddy come back and said to me, I got 5 bullies. But I think it's 4 bullies and a King Corso. Is that what they call those dogs?
I don't know too much about dog breeds.
But anyway,
either way,
let's continue.
Yeah, this McDonough trade. So, of course, when that came out, everyone thought, well, of course, this means the Leafs are getting Stamkos and they're going to trade Marner for UC Saros.
I love all of that.
That's outrageous, though.
Okay, so where's Stamkos?
One trade happens and we link it right back to Toronto.
I know, well, because it's always like the dominoes here. Look at the marketplace here. Look at the marketplace. Look at the media. Look at the gossip. Look at us.
Yeah.
Okay, it just keep.
Well, it's always hockey time in the house that happens.
You know that. So here we go. So the thing is, I think that they take a shot at Soros. But you know what I've heard from a couple.
I think a lot of teams are going to take a shot at him. That's the problem.
But you know what I hear the problem with him is they say he's too small.
He's quick though.
That's what I say. I'll take him. But you know their theory is quickness goes before size. So if you sign him for 5 years, what do you got? And he's what, 29?
We'll see.
I would take him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm making a Leafs wish list for the offseason.
Okay, before we get the other thing,
I'm not going to throw this out on the show today, but
okay.
Let's put it this way: goaltending is
I was
priority
just
one.
Say, and I do watch. Was Overdrive on for 3 hours a day? So let's just say I watch an hour of it. I just got to fast forward because there's just too much nonsense with those guys, and sometimes they talk about things they don't know about. But I got to give Hayes credit. Because every time they come up and they talk about salary cap, trades, Marner out of town, having 10 million guys, he stops everybody and says, "Can we start with goaltending, please?" Got to give the man credit. Every time other shows there, people talk.
They got to rebuild that defense too.
Oh no, that's his second priority. So but he's in the business all these years. I understand he grew up practically at Maple Leaf Gardens because of his dad. But And he's growing on me a bit, though. I think I'm not judging the man, but he's got something arrogant about him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's in that position, so I'll shut the front door. Bottom line is, at least he's the only big talking head I hear in this Toronto media that the first thing that comes out of his mouth is goaltending. Okay? Now, let's just look in the league. Right now, the 4 teams that are left. Who are the goaltenders? Now, Skinner's the anomaly.
Skinner's the anomaly. And Ottinger at times.
Ottinger, I'd still take him. I'd still take him as the number one. Because you know what it is? It all because last year because of what Aiden Hill did with Vegas.
Yeah,
so they said,
true.
oh, you can pull it off. That's one in how many years? Go before that. Who was it? Vasilevsky. Who was it before that? I forget. They had whatever.
But Colorado won with the good enough goaltending, put it that way.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
So who was it again? Who was their number one starter? I forget.
Well, it's Buddy who's in Washington now. Who's just numbers have fallen off a cliff.
Well, they knew to get rid of him, just like you guys knew to get rid of Campbell. You know what I mean? You can't pay him. And if you guys go this, and okay, Mr. Brian Hayes.
Darcy Kemper.
Oh, yeah, Kemper.
That's the guy's name.
And he's fell off the cliff. But
lost his starting job this year in Washington.
The one thing I want to point out about it is that the fact that I respect Hazen this much because every time I think about it, I go, Toronto needs a goalie, man. Because, Wall could be the guy.
We need someone to be as a running mate, though.
We need him to play 60 games. You guys need him to play 60 games without getting hurt. That's what his freaking claim to fame is.
Well, let's get him to like 30, 40 games first before we start talking about 60. I'd rather have like another guy like a Saros who can kind of like carry the load.
Mark Swayman kind of balance?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know we got some good prospects developing too, but in the meantime, I think you need to acquire someone.
Well, how much are you going to pay for him? You can't pay for more than $5 million, $6 million a year.
I agree.
Someone's going to trade for Soros and overpay for him. Or what are you going to have to give Nashville to go on? But here's what I'm saying about Nashville. I think that they got rid of McDonough to free up cap space.
100%.
So that they can solidify their defense.
And also because apparently McDonough asked them, if there's a way to get me back to Tampa,
agreed.
Do it.
Okay, so they did. And that's respect. I got it. But here's what I'm saying more. Nashville made a big knock on the door this year.
Sure.
They want to take a step back? No.
I don't think they.
Good
well, hold on
though.
I don't think they expect to make the playoffs this year. I still think they know they're early in this rebuilding process. So I don't think they're gonna look at this as oh man, all of a sudden we make the playoffs and now we got to invest because I don't know if you remember 20 years ago the Blue Jays kind of made a mistake like this too, where they were further ahead than they thought they were, and they overreacted. That means we need to buy this, this, and this. And what happened? It fell on their face.
Boom. But I'm still saying, with the fan base that they have, and it got to be respected. If you got this far, do you want to take a step back? I'm not saying they're going to leap to the finals.
Well, if you got to take a step back, to take 2 steps forward, though.
How far is a step back? McDonough is a good defenseman.
Sure.
He's a front line. He's top 4 guy.
He's getting up there in age, though.
32. So what? A lot of guys played over 36.
Yeah. No shortage of good D, though, Nashville.
What's that?
They got no shortage of good defensemen there.
No kidding. You see Yossi in the tournament?
I know.
Oh, ridiculous. But I'm still saying, what are they going to do? They're going to use that to either continue to solidify their defense with one more guy, because you're going to have to replace him. They need more scoring, Nashville.
Oh, 100%. That's priority 1.
Yeah, so they need more scoring. And but the bottom line is, when you got a goaltender, why let him go? That's my theory.
Unless you think you got someone else coming.
I'll come back. I'll push back on this. Joseph Wall keeps coming and keeps disappearing. So you got to have someone that you know that's going to be able to start 40. You need a goalie. Can you tell me? And you can't say you can't guarantee that Wall's going to start 40 games next year. That's the issue. I think he should. I like the guy. I like the way he plays.
Even if health wasn't an issue, I wouldn't exactly be rushing to start him 40 games next year.
Who are you going to get to do otherwise?
You got to find. That's my point. Find someone else. You got to acquire another goalie.
I seen a kid out in the street out there. He was stopping some freaking road hockey ball. It's pretty good. I think he can come on the cheap.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? No, you got to. It's so true. When you look at it, Shesterkin, Borowski. And I'm really glad you didn't break Patrick Roy's record, buddy. You heard about the record, right?
What record?
Most consecutive games winning in overtime in the playoffs. He was tied with Patrick. And I went, oh, shit, this doesn't look good. When he got scored on, I went. Because I'm really beginning to hate Florida, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we will. Anything else for goalie / Leaf talk?
The only thing I'm saying is this. I heard Berube's press conference, and I'm not convinced that the top four is going to be broken up.
I agree.
Not convinced, just the way he was talking.
Don't you? Yeah, don't you? I think Berube kind of wants to see what he could do with these guys.
That's what I smell. You know what I mean? Like he's going, you know what I mean?
Mind you, that could be a lot of coded language in there. You don't really know.
And you know what? Tavares is one of the best-looking players on Canada. Over there, he's looking freaking great. If you use him in that role, and I firmly believe that he's going to give you guys a hometown discount.
I believe that too.
Is he living in Hyde Park, though, eh? Did you tell me that?
No.
I
have no idea where these guys are living.
I heard he's living in Hyde Park, but he used to be the Oakville guy. Like I heard he had a nice place down. Like you don't go to Oakville, or you have to, do you? No. Okay. Anyway, there's a part of Oakville south. I didn't know about till I was living here 40 years. I didn't even know about till about 20 years ago. There's a part of Oakville. You take a little road, you go down, and bang, you're on a place with the best sunsets in the city, and that's including out in the bluffs in Scarborough there.
Wow.
No word of lie. But you know what the houses are worth down there?
A lot.
That's probably the second most Ferraris I've seen outside of Woodbridge. Just saying. But, you know.
We'll keep this moving. Don Waddell is leaving Carolina as president and GM. It is expected that he's going to take a job in Columbus, whether that's in business or hockey ops. It's not really known right now because he is a good business guy. Made a lot of money in porta potties, from what I understand.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Columbus needs a kick, though, eh?
Big kick. And Waddell, maybe the right guy to lead that operation. But in the meantime, Eric Tulsky is going to step up as the interim GM. He's regarded as one of the brightest young minds in the game. Got to start actually with the Flyers analytics blog that he ran. Wow. And now he's running the Carolina Hurricanes. He's an analytics guy. That's his background. I think he's got a bunch of chemistry patents and stuff. Fascinating guy. And he's also running the scouting department for Carolina too. So from what I understand, they're interviewing other guys, but it looks like he's the front runner and with good reason. Lost out on the Chicago and Pittsburgh jobs, but you got to imagine a GM job is right around the corner.
Okay, so can I ask you this? Do you think Columbus is a secure franchise?
In what way?
We're already out in
like financially or
no money. They got money.
Oh yeah, I know that.
They got money. They're Columbus, Ohio. No, I'm looking at it this way. Their attendance isn't that great. They don't win, and you want to have an expansion. Why don't you move that team? Do you think they'll ever be moved? Do they got enough money?
Because they have stable ownership.
Oh, very.
So they're never going to move them.
Okay, that's the issue.
I think once the team comes back into form, the fans will come. They have shown that in Columbus. They do have a good fan base.
Oh no, if they're winning, but when's the last time they won? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been tough for Columbus.
I think Columbus. I think Ohio State. Fuck you.
right around the corner.
Fuck you. That's how I think about that. But I always find it interesting when you have a thing like that. Like all these guys that are like going to Columbus and stuff. Like these guys are very, very smart. I hope the fan base is maintained. But when I think about when they talk about expansion, and I'm gonna beat this horse till the day it dies, is the fact that sometimes the markets and the competition are north of the border, north of the 49 parallel. I know Winnipeg's got issues. But you can't ignore the fact that there's a place up there, and I got not a lot to say about that province, but up there with that arena and that fan base, I'm just going, man, that would be better for the league.
What about a second team in Toronto?
Oh, that would, come on. That would be the greatest thing that ever happened. I'd become a fan, a part-time fan.
I know you would.
I'd be a part-time, I'd go out and buy a jersey, right away, just because. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, and the Markham thing's dead.
Yeah.
So I hear Hamilton's too far because the Buffalo people would get nervous.
Yep.
So where would you put it in Toronto? And Mississauga is just a political mess. You know what I mean? They are.
Put it in Vaughan.
Markham, Vaughan? Yeah, put in Vaughan then. Yeah. The hell with Markham. I
don't think Vaughan would allow that, but either way.
Big money in Vaughan.
I don't disagree with that.
No, well, you live close to there. Do you know what they say?
But I think there's a reason why we've never had never even really been considered for like an OHL team or any of those even like tier 2 teams or anything like that.
Because you're a new neighborhood. You know, I mean, your neighborhood's 50 years old.
Yeah.
But in the context of Toronto, that's a new neighborhood. Like
we had TFC 2 and York United FC play in Woodbridge for a hot second, but that's it.
And then it was
leaking on me.
That's not good. Well, we're at Chewy's. I don't know. I think a second team in Toronto would fly. I just think it's that the MLSE would be
might have a thing or five to say about it, yeah.
And not that they don't have a little juice.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So we could have some issues there, but
we got to keep this moving into the playoffs, though.
Yeah,
so first of all, a wrap up on Game 7 between Edmonton and Vancouver. So a lot of the reaction to this game kind of confused me because people were like, oh, I never felt like Vancouver was out of it. Not me. They came out flat in those first 2 periods.
Done. 12 shots, or was it 10 shots after 2 periods?
I mean, it got exciting once Connor Garland got that first goal for them. You're like, okay, maybe this is it.
First 2 periods of a Game 7, boring as shit. Just
Yeah.
like Edmonton kept going forward and the rest of the guys were tripping over their puck. I think...
Too little, too late for the Canucks.
I thought Quinn Hughes was running out of gas. He looked like he was running out of gas to me. Peterson, now we know, was hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm a little surprised that nothing came out on the Hughes injury front. I thought he was dealing with something for sure the way he was playing.
Yeah, he didn't look 100%. But big shout out to...
and missing Brock Besser Game 7 too. Huge blow.
That I agree too. But big shout out to Tocchet.
Coach of the year.
Yeah, and changing the whole way we look at things in Vancouver. So they're on the rise. Good luck to them.
Absolutely.
Even though I was hoping that Edmonton would beat them anyway, so I didn't really matter to me.
I was hoping just because I'd be right, but
okay. I just got to say this: Edmonton winning the first game against Dallas in overtime. What a game, though, eh? What a high-quality game. I want to point out something to you, especially to my buddy.
And the first time Esa Lindell and Chris Tanev have been beaten like these whole playoffs, really, and they got scored on 3 times. Incredible.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I want to point out, especially to my good friend Glenn Lecuvie, who we're going to see Gary Clark Jr. on Monday night, there's been a long history of how you treat top-line players in the NHL. Okay? So I'm going to give you one example, which has rotted the Toronto Maple Leaf fan base since...
1967?
No. Well, that's a whole other story. But was it 2000 when Gretzky stick?
93.
93? When Gilmore...
Yeah, conference finals.
Yeah, conference finals. Stick. Okay. So
my no-no still hates Wayne Gretzky to this day.
What's that?
My no-no still hates Wayne Gretzky to this day.
I bet. Okay, so over the years, they always say, is there preferential treatment? And I'm going to talk about this in a bit.
Yes.
Okay. I'm saying that it's coming around because the thing that could have really went off the rails for Edmonton is Connor McDavid taking the double minor for the high stakes. In overtime. What kind of preferential treatment is that? It's just Dallas money wanting to make sure they went further? I don't want to say that. Stop it. I didn't say anything but that. But I'm just saying that's a level playing field. But I also told my buddy that based on this, he should have got the penalty in the Hughes series, which might have changed Vancouver's fortunes.
Sure.
You know, at that particular time when he got away with a high stick on Hughes.
Probably why he's getting called for this penalty in the first place. Someone's like...
Well,
we can't have this again.
There you
Someone
go.
in the referee department.
Or someone in the higher office showed the film and said, hey, guys, how did you miss this?
That being said, I still think McDavid will get away with a ton of shit, especially in the regular season.
Okay. Okay, I'm not saying it's preferential treatment, but he will.
I'm saying it's preferential treatment.
Okay, then things will slide when you're on a level of a player like him. But I'm still saying that that's what won the game. When Edmonton killed that 4-minute.
Oh, if you kill a double minor or a major penalty, it's huge.
In overtime.
Yeah.
In overtime. That's what you got to say. But I really think that Edmonton's way they kill the penalties is great. Just stay in the lanes and throw your body. Stay in the lanes, throw your body. Insanely aggressive. Now, when they get scored against Skinner, there's no chance because they just leave that. They move the puck around and that goes in the net. But the fact that they stayed that aggressive to eliminate the power play, I'm impressed with that. And it worked to a T in that. And then who ends up getting the overtime winner?
McDavid.
Nice tip.
Left all alone, but what a slick feed from Bouchard, too.
Unbelievable. Oh, we're talking about surprise players in this playoffs? Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But in any event, I thought that was a great goal. I thought the high quality of games was outstanding. Like that was one of the best games I've seen in the playoff. And I was wondering, how long is this going to go on? 1 minute, was 2 minutes in the overtime?
Yeah, not even 2 minutes.
Not even 2 minutes. Like 90 seconds in the overtime, the game was over. So I wonder what we're going to get tonight.
Yeah, I looked away for a second and missed the goal.
Oh, I was wondering what's going on. Beautiful pass. So Dallas, who
Yeah, 32 seconds in.
Oh, 32 seconds? Okay. So here's what you got to do, because I'm not in the national sports media, and nobody knows my name yet because we're still building the mansion. Here's one thing we should say, and I don't think guys on TV say this enough when they're out there. They yap. This is this. I predict this. I predict this. I predict that. And when it doesn't go down, you never hear them coming back and say, hey, you know what? I kind of screwed up. Okay, you never hear that. Okay, so all year long, when we do our power ratings and who was going to go everywhere, who was I on the top of? Dallas. Then they got up against Colorado. Guess what? So since we didn't get here last week, I have to come up and say, I was wrong. I should have stayed on the Dallas bandwagon because look at now. They still got a shot. They got to win tonight.
You've been burned a couple times these playoffs not staying on a bandwagon.
Exactly, jumping off the horse. So lesson to be learned on, if you're on the bandwagon, stay on it. Don't go off because I was
Agreed.
I was Dallas. And then I went, well, you know, I kind of like Colorado. Whoops, look what happened. You know what I'm saying? And I still think that Dallas has got a good shot at winning it all. What's going on? We got rain?
Well, it was raining, but I don't know.
That's all new.
We might need some fresh caulking here.
Yes, that's the way it's going to go. But I think it's going to be tonight is a pivotal game, as usual.
I think Dallas takes it.
Really? What do you think?
Yeah.
You know what I hate?
I called Dallas in 5. I'm going to stand by that, honestly.
Okay. I still think they're going to win the series because I never got to say that, but you knew I was on a Dallas thing anyway.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is what I'm trying to figure out about hockey is it happens all the time is that team wins the first game, and the second game they take their foot off the gas.
Happens a lot.
More than we realize. That's what I'm saying. So when you get it down, do like Barkley says. If you got them down one game, go for two. Why get comfortable with your position?
Well, that did not happen in the Florida-New York series. These have both been crazy. I mean, the first game, it said 3-0, but let's be real. That was a one-goal game.
Like I'm saying, I'm going to get to that in a bit too. Like which game, what has been better, the NBA games or the NHL games? But both of the game, that was a hell of a hockey game. Both Ranger games have been a hell of a game. However, I do want to point out, I'm really starting to get a hate on for the Florida Panthers.
Please do tell.
They're looking like the Philadelphia Flyers from about 1975.
The Broad Street Bullies.
Oh, they're just, and they're a good skating team. They're big and they got a great goalie. But
And a great coach.
They can't go by anybody without putting out an elbow. Nobody. They're going to go on. Now, I told you this off the air, and I got to repeat this again. I love Brad Marchand as much as I love a good kick in the nuts, okay? So let's get to the chase in this. However, and Marchand is as dirty as anybody, and you've heard his quotes, and you got to say, but the fact that Bennett guy could skate full length across the ice and punch the guy in the face, it was a sneaky punch. When you watch the replay, you didn't realize.
You didn't see it initially, yeah.
No, you didn't notice it, really. They got away with that. Why? Because it was Marchand? This is what we're talking about, preferential treatment, reputation, and how you call the game. Oh, it was only Marchand.
Well, in Florida and Boston, they play that style where it's like, well, the refs aren't going to call everything.
Yeah, but you know what? That was like, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But when I seen that go on, I just went, that's insane. Like, I don't care if that was Gandhi or if it was freaking Hitler. When you do that shit, man, you got to call it. It's just like, to me, I just go, really? How'd you let that go? That being said, what was that insanity after the first goal last night's games? I thought Rempe should have come out and beat the shit out of every guy got his hands on. That's what I thought. I mean, I got to respect the Kachuk players because of the way they brought up and the way they play. But he was the first bastard in there. And then, you know what? The guy that started it all, like Mr. Tough guy, Lafreniere.
Yeah.
Come on. He knocked the guy over. I was happy to see him hit somebody. Come on. And now you're gonna jump on him like he's like freaking Mike Tyson? Stop it. The guy hit somebody. I bet you're going back to the dressing room and bought him beers. I mean, how many times do you see that guy hit somebody like that?
Yeah, not many.
Okay, so he hit the guy. That's hockey. And you know what? And the defenseman went down. The guy was wide open. He pushed it into the net. That's hockey. So what does Philadelphia do? Sharpen their sticks, call in the Tasmanian Devil, and say, let's do everything dirty. And you see the shots that they were punching? This is why I say, you say we got to have an instigator. I'm going yes and no. I think some gloves should have been dropped then, and we should have started doing some swinging then. Not that I'm an advocate.
No one fights in the playoffs, though. This is stuff where it's like, we'll pick this up next season.
Oh, you know what? That just... that grates me like no tomorrow. I watched it, Mr. PVR, let's rewind it. About 3 times I go, look at and not only that, as referees are coming in, the Florida guys will come around and what was his name? One of the defensive around and nail a guy in the head. With the refs look the other way, the guy's so around and go, look at it. I rewound it. I watched every guy. Every Florida guy was in there punching a guy or doing something dirty while the referees are trying to scramble it out. And I go, you pieces of shit. Not that I'm a big Ranger guy, but no. I'm just saying there should have been some swinging going on there. Back in the day, 1976, Larry Robinson would have punched out every guy on the ice one by one. And that stuff would have ended. Because what do we get tonight? I mean, the next game, it's going to be in Florida.
Yep.
So all the all the rats are going to be out. So I hope Florida loses just on that. I don't like dirty teams. I like tough, rough hockey playing. I don't like dirt.
Who do you think's taking the series?
I think that the Rangers really have to keep Rempe in the lineup for starters.
You think so?
Yes.
I think that, I don't know, that storyline I think is a little bit overstated here. I think the Rangers are good enough without him. Do you really need Matt Rempe?
I think just
to play like 5 minutes a night?
Just because.
I don't know if I completely agree with that.
Okay, it's subjective. The reason I'm going to go there is just because, let's put it this way. Some people in life need bodyguards. I think the New York Rangers need a bodyguard. That's how I'm looking at it. Because there's too many elbows, too many sticks, too many crazy shit going on with Florida. That's all there is to it. So when they didn't have Rempe there, they were the first game, they were taking liberties all over the place. You know what I mean? It's just that the Rangers are so fast and so skilled that they keep up with it, and Sisirkin has been playing off the charts.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Best goalie of these playoffs.
Oh, no doubt. With Bobby back there being maybe the second best goalie that's played in these playoffs too, okay?
Yeah.
So the Rangers are more skilled, I think, than Florida. But you know how big of a favorite Florida is on the betting line before the series started?
Really?
Yeah, they were a plus. I forget what it was, like a plus 150 or maybe more. I went, really? And you're just talking about the Adams Trophy guy, or President's Cup guys?
Yeah.
Who have the home advantage, and Florida was a prohibitive favorite by a large margin.
Mind you, Florida finished only 4 points back of the Rangers in the regular season.
Agreed. I mean, it was relatively close in the thing they're there, but to make them that big of a favorite because everyone
They made the finals last year.
They made the finals, yeah, and they're animals. And I mean,
I picked them to win in 7th, so.
Okay, well, we're going to see what's going to happen, but just to let you know how it works, okay? Let's do a barometer of how America works.
Okay.
I do like the McAfee show. I find that to be, I laugh. I watch that show, honest to God, Andrew, there's at least 3 or 4 times in that show, I'm belly laughing. Because just what comes out of it, all the characters are on the show and all that. And like you said, they're goony, they're goofy, and they're not always accurate. Boy, when they see that Florida stuff going on, they all got hard-ons.
Of course.
They're all losing their shit, which tells me, number one, they don't know fuck all about hockey, number one. And if that's what's bringing you to the table, that's a sorry state of affairs. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
So who are you picking to win the series? Come on.
Jesus, Mary. I'm picking the Rangers.
In how many games? 7?
No, they're going to upset them in overtime in Game 6.
Whoa, okay.
I'll take that to the bank, okay?
One last thing for hockey. Who is your most surprising player of the playoffs? I think you already alluded to it.
The boy on Dallas. The kid on Dallas. Johnson's his name?
Why Johnston?
Actually, there's 2 of them. Because the guy is flying up and down the wing. He's in traffic. He's getting knocked over, and he's getting back up. Okay, he was a little out of place last night. He's getting knocked on his ass a bit. But, I mean, he come out of nowhere. He did score 30 goals one year, though, didn't he?
Well, this year he scored 30 goals.
Yeah, he scored 30 goals. So I'm just thinking that he's up.
And last year, his rookie season, he had 40 points, 24 goals as well.
Yeah, 24. So he's a rising star. But you notice him. You know, in your games, you don't notice him. And the other revelation is Bouchard on Edmonton is and who I thought earlier in the year, I thought he was their number 1 defenseman. I think if you go back and check the tape, I thought he was their number 1 defenseman. In this playoffs, he's proven it.
Oh, he did last year pretty much, and even the year before, I think he was up there for points for the Oilers, too. In the playoffs, he just turns it up a notch,
That's
this guy.
What I'm saying. That's because I don't remember. Remember in the season we were talking about the Edmonton defense? We were calling him to probably their number 1.
Mind you, he put away 18 goals.
What's that?
He scored 18 goals this year.
But he's on the power play all the time. But I mean,
still.
But his level of play, don't you think, has gone up in the playoffs?
I agree.
So
I agree.
Like he surprised me more. Like the level of his play has gone up. Like Makar didn't outshine him, which I thought he would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you think with the playoffs, here we are now. That's Makar we're talking about. But you know another thing I heard about Dallas last night, the first game was they're missing that Hintz guy.
He's going to be back in the lineup tonight, it looks like.
He's another guy that I've really noticed in these playoffs. You know what I mean? Like he's like I go that guy, and of course the Heiskanen guy that he plays with.
Heiskanen. Well, Heiskanen's a defenseman, but
yeah. But I mean the Hintz guy there. I think that he's a great player. How old is he? Young.
Heiskanen, he was in the same draft as Pettersson, and he's 24.
Yeah, he's a great hockey player, man. I'm totally
He's my surprise of the playoffs because I've always been pumping his tires, but to be the leading scorer of his team, second in goals as well, is playing almost like half an hour a night.
Yes.
Come on.
The ice time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he'll be back tonight?
Rupee Hintz is going to be back tonight, yeah. But I'm talking about Heiskanen.
Oh, and Heiskanen, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Heiskanen, he's outstanding. Sometimes he's looked like the best defenseman in all the players. He's even looked better than Bouchard. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
they're saying that the level of play that he's playing at could get him a Norris Trophy within the next couple seasons.
Oh, he continues to be as such, yeah, which is just telling you the level of defenseman in the league has really gone up because don't forget Makar, okay? Let's put it this way. Colorado was a heartbeat away from being in this conference finals too. You know, you think about it, like that was a great series. I think that was one
Wow, they lost in 6, though.
Okay, they lost in 6 and they lost in overtime in game 6, okay? So I'm just saying it should have went 7, but I'm saying all 6 of those games were highly contested.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And Dallas got a few more breaks in Colorado, and that's just the way the game goes. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I just hope it continues on this way because I'm enjoying the games immensely. You know, the quality of the games.
Yeah, very much looking forward to Game 2, Dallas-Edmonton tomorrow or tonight.
Tonight. Here we go.
Yeah. Now it's time for my favorite. Or actually, one more thing that we forgot to mention off the top: the NFL putting a chip in the ball.
Put the cameras on the field first. That's what I say. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be in the preseason. I'm glad you brought that up because they said the problem was before that kickers and quarterbacks could feel it whenever they had something. They tried this a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they said there was a weight variance, but I hear this new chip's the size of a rice.
It's not going to make a difference.
So we're going to see. I think it's interesting because what the NFL is trying to do is they want to take away the chains. What else does they want to do? They want to do a bunch of weird shit to tighten up the game. And I don't know. It could be good, bad, or ugly because I like football just the way it is.
The chains I've always found weird, though. It's such like a imperfect way of measuring it.
But I like the human element. The more they take out of the human element, the more it becomes a video game.
Nah.
I'm more with the Belichick.
I view it as technology assistance.
Yeah, cousins of analytics.
It's not a bad thing to me.
Okay, I'll adjust. I'm getting old. You know it is.
Analytics 1.
Okay, so what you can't figure out, just getting your ass kicked.
What do you mean?
Analytics can't do nothing of that. You're getting your ass kicked. You're getting your ass kicked.
But you can figure out why you got your ass kicked.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You're going to continue to do as such. Okay.
Either way, it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone in the world's favorite segment. It's the Gospel According to Cruz.
Thank you very much, and I think you're going to be able to help me out with a little bit of this. But anyways, as I was thinking, as I adapt to this life of retirement, I've always said to myself, why don't you just live your life around the calendar year of sports? So just think about it. You start off with the Super Bowl and in the playoffs, which falls right into March Madness, okay? And when March Madness is coming on, you've got what falls into opening day. And, what's going on in the spring? NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. So when people say, what is the best time of the year for sports? Because people argue about this all the time. Is it when football season starts and the baseball playoffs are going on and training camps are opening up? Or is it in the spring when we have all this activity? Well, I'm starting to believe that maybe it is in the spring. And maybe it's because we have baseball going and we have the Masters and we just had the PGA and this is all in springtime. But what more importantly is I think it's because we have the Stanley Cup Playoffs and the NBA Playoffs. Okay, and it takes 16 games for you to win a championship. So what I've been looking at along the way is I started saying to myself, why do I like this what do I like and what do I don't like about all this activity happening in spring with two leagues that are playing almost every night of the week in some way or another. Well, the first thing I like is game ones. I love game ones in every series because you don't know what's going to happen, okay? Which takes it to the other stream is I love game sevens because it's do or die. So what you've done is you've developed a storyline that goes from game 1 to game 7. So you've just got like a little book you've just read. And if that book's not really good, you can get to read the next chapter in round 2. And then you get to read the next chapter in round 3. Not only that, we get to do one of the things that we just got to talk about. We get to see personalities rise up. So players that we've never ever heard before, suddenly they're on the front page. For example, we couldn't stop talking about Ant-Man, though it's not going the way that it is. However, we are talking about players like Bouchard, Hiskinen, the Hintz kid, a variety of players that we don't notice as much during the regular season because there's so many games going on, we can't watch it all teams at all time. However, when I do watch these two leagues, where two biggest leagues in North America play, there's some things that really, really irk me. And one of them is, how do they decide to ref these games? Now, when I watch in the regular season, I see this go on, that go on. Oh, I took a penalty over here. We better get a makeup penalty over here. Oh, that guy went into the lane, put up his wrist. Let's call a foul. Let's not. Well, let's look at the playoffs this year so far. You seen that skirmish in the Florida game last night? What, 2 minors? 3 minors came out of that? There should have been some misconducts. There should have been some fighting going on. Oh, by the way, did you watch in the NBA now? You go into the paint, you're going to get your head taken off, and I don't see no fouls. Which is really, really good because then I don't have to get sick of the incessant barking by players at the referees. So if you really watch the playoffs, especially these conference finals games, look at that. That has gone way down. I don't know if it's a thing from the league office, but somebody has said, hey, guys, if you're yapping, we're not even looking at you. You know what I mean? Look at the game last night with Dallas and Timberwolves. I hardly heard a foul going down the stretch. My question is, if we get this quality of games during the playoffs, why don't we get this standard during the regular season? Now, you're going to tell me, well, that's 82 games. It's a long haul. We can't do that like this all the time. Okay, I will give you that. But why can't we have the same refereeing in the regular season that we have in the playoffs? Because then if you're not going to say the style of play is going to stay the same, at least the consistency I'm going to see is the fact that you're going to call the games the same. Because when you don't call the games the same, I start thinking of this place out in Nevada called Vegas. And I don't want to put that element into the game when I see things because sometimes I go, Do they ever think that maybe a big market is better on television than a small market? Yes, there is. And in my humble opinion, I believe that the NBA executives are absolutely fearing the thought that Minnesota and Indiana would make it to the playoffs. I think they are just screaming. I think they're in there going, oh no. Because people forget that Dallas is a very big market and Texas is a very big state. So if you have Texas and you have New York, yay. If you have Texas and Florida, yay. However, if you have Minnesota and Indiana, sometimes they don't get the calls that I think they should get called because I don't know why. Switch it over to hockey, the same thing right now. What do we got left over? You don't think they want the New York Rangers into the finals? What if we get New York Rangers and Dallas in the finals? Isn't that the marketing that all of America wants because we got the two big markets? Nobody in America wants to see Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Finals. Half of America doesn't even know where Edmonton is. So, my take on the matter is this. As long as we can have a level playing field during the course of the games, and I get to see the same refereeing that brings up the quality of the games, I'm not going to bitch about any of the inconsistencies that I see when they do go on because they're not as bad as in the regular season. But there's one other thing I want to bring up about the whole playoff thing in the spring right now is I often wonder what the media has effect on what goes on when they watch the games. Because Toronto is the craziest market going, but they're no longer in the playoffs. But like I was alluding to you before, when I say something when we're on this podcast and I'm wrong, I'm going to come back the next day and say, I'm wrong. Hence jumping off the Dallas bandwagon and jumping on the Colorado bandwagon. How did that work out? Not too well. So for every pundit that I see on TV, every blowhard that tells me Ant-Man is the face of the NBA, and the next week you're calling him Dylan Brooks, I'm going, that's bad television in my books. I want the same consistency on the line. Nobody is Jesus Christ. There's only one of those. So everybody that comes out there is not a savior. Not everyone's going to save the games. Not everyone's going to be something that you think is like, oh my God, is this guy going to be the greatest? I would like to refer to, you just said, Andrew, if we keep looking at a guy like Heiskanen, maybe he's a future Norris Trophy player. Because we can see it on the ice that this is where this is going. So if the pundits want to talk about things like that, yes. But when they talk about all this stuff like getting on the air, like my favorite guy, Stephen A. Smith, ranting and railing, and this is why Minnesota's going to do this, and then all of a sudden Denver wins 3 games. Oh, see, Denver is a real champion. Look, they knew how to come back. Oh, they were up 20 in Game 7, and they lose to the upstart Minnesota, and then you change your narrative again. Let's be consistent about the narrative. Let's be consistent about the refereeing, because all we really want is the quality of the games to be at the highest level of competition that we can possibly see, because that's the reason that we have the house that happens, correct?
Yes, sir.
So on that note, I'm just saying I hope for the rest of the playoffs are outstanding. I'm looking already to see if I can find out who's my Conn Smythe winner is going to be. I'm also looking at who's going to be the most valuable player in the NBA playoff finals. I'm also looking at the personalities that I'm liking to see, like Naz Reid. We understand why he's the 6th man of the year when I watch Minnesota are playing. I understand why people are going to say, that McConnell guy on Indianapolis, isn't he a lot of fun? Because what you've done is you discovered new things that are going on. So as opposed to the NFL, which owns everything, think about it. We only get a month of playoffs out of those guys? With 1 game at a time, which is on a high level that is so dramatic that we love it. We can't get away from football. But let's respect the fact that every spring, when it comes around, we get to see a chance to have a story with 3 or 4 chapters. And if the book's that good, we're going to talk about it for the rest of our lives. Agreed?
Sure.
And that's the gospel according to Cruz.
So there's one thing I got to disagree with you there. I think the networks in the States do want Edmonton over Dallas in the finals.
Because of Connor McDavid?
Oh, he's all look at ESPN's marketing. McDavid's everywhere. You look at all the sports shows. All they're talking about is McDavid.
I think
they want Edmonton, New York final.
You know what? I'm hoping for that too. But then again, I don't mean to bring up this angle on it. Why is PK Subban the only guy that gets on the morning shows to talk about sports?
Maybe he's just the only guy making his time available. I wouldn't be surprised if Messier tells him to go fly a kite.
Oh, I'm waiting for it. Every show. I'm waiting for one of these where Subban's going and you see Messier go, psh. Don't you see sometimes when Messier looks at Subban?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
It's very, very weird. Different eras at different times.
No, but Subban, I think he's just that kind of guy where he's like, I'll make myself available first up, whoever, or not.
He's in New York all the time too.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, but I'm hoping Edmonton's getting there too. You know why? Because we are Canadian. You know, not everything shines out of the Americans' asses, even though they'd like us to believe that, including the 3 race thing we're going to see on, Sunday?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow that we're already talking about. But in any event, all I can hope for is this. The chapters in the books have already been written. We're just waiting to get to the end, and I think the endings are going to be really good this year.
Yeah.
You know?
Last nights of basketball and hockey on every night, so I'm just going to cherish every moment.
Every second, bro. Like, I got a little bit busy there earlier in the playoffs because you go, oh, my God, and what are the Jays doing on the side? So, you know, you get a little hectic. But now it's like the funnel. It's all coming through. We're getting to the end because, let's be honest with you, in about June 15th, I'm going to have withdrawal symptoms. What am I going to be doing? Watch RuPaul? No, there will be baseball on.
And Euro Cup.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a Euro guy, but I'm going to.
Oh, you're going to get into it this year.
Yes, we are. You know what I mean? So any event, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the playoffs. I'm going to have to say this, and I think you agree, Andrew. This week alone, some of the quality of games we have seen.
Tremendous.
Outstanding. The reason we go there, and if you're an amateur and you've never want to see why we watch the games, please show up and watch the playoffs.
There we go.
You got it?
I think that's just about it.
Anything else you'd like to bring up?
No, just everyone enjoy your week. Thank you for listening. Follow us on social. We love you.
So as we get to this point right now, I want everyone to know that my garden has been planted.
Hey.
Because they've been asking me about it. I'm not going to say what kind of garden it is. However, my garden is planted, and the girls look outrageous. One really quick shout out before I go. Everybody in my neighborhood that talks to me about sports, and I've introduced you to my podcast, please let me know you're listening. I forgot to tell you, Andrew, 2 guys pulled me over because we're talking about sports and asked me so much. I said, I have a podcast. They stopped me to ask because they didn't know. They couldn't remember. So 2 guys went into their phone right away.
Nice.
So I want to thank those. And you know what? I don't even know their names. I know their dogs because that's just how it works. You know what I mean? In any event, great show, buddy. Great production.
Great show.
Great show. Not only that, I want to say 90% of the reason that this show is working as well as it is from my compatriot across the table, Mr. Andrew Mullaney, and I can't say
Oh, stop it. You're being too nice.
No. And I just got to say, one day I'm going to meet your parents for bringing up such a good guy. I mean that most sincerely. Anything else you want to say?
That's it.
Hi, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Mullaney.
And what do?
We keep the vibe alive. You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.